Well, they've been at their best in recent weeks, of course, Coventry City. How will they form tonight? The two teams have arrived on the playing surface here at Bramall Lane, which is looking fairly decent. A little bit bare down in some of the corners, particularly where the substitute goalkeepers tend to warm up during games. But apart from that, looks a lovely pitch to play on tonight. You're listening to the EFL Championship live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order McDelivery on the app and get rewards points. 18 plus. Participating restaurants, delivery fees and terms apply. See mcdonalds.com. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk is alongside me. Are you surprised at the job that Frank Lampard has done at Coventry City?
Yeah, pleasantly. I'll be honest, I probably didn't expect him to have the impact that he did, and sort of when you look at his managerial career, yeah, he did a good job at Derby, but you're looking at the other jobs after that and Chelsea, and it's a difficult situation, isn't it? It's sort of that second time round at Chelsea, but look, I'm pleased for him because I want to see good young English managers in the game progressing, and obviously at the moment he's in the Championship, and I'm sure again he's got those big ambitions to be in the Premier League again one day, and as Chris Wilder says, maybe even an England manager.
And Chris Wilder, I mean, look, he's putting together a squad here that you feel, he knows and feels that if they get up, they're going to make a much better fist of it next time round, aren't they? Yeah,
completely agree. And I think you probably can put Leeds again in that bracket as well, with a very similar situation where you're looking at that and thinking, it's adding a few bits of quality rather than a complete whole rejig with the squad. So yeah, I think it's important now, as the gap between the Championship and Premier League seems to be getting bigger, and we've seen the way that the promoted clubs have struggled this season in the Premier League.
Well, we certainly have. The two teams are out. Quick reminder of the lineups for you that we gave you about 10-15 minutes ago. Cooper's in goal for Sheffield United. Sariki, Ahmed, Hodzic, Robinson and Burrows across the back. Chowdhury and Peck in midfield, with Brereton, Diaz, Brewster and Harmer supporting Tyrese Campbell. As for Coventry, a couple of changes for them tonight. Dovan is the keeper. Van Ivik, Thomas, Bidwell and Binks will make up the back four. Torp, Grimes and Allen in central midfield, with Sakamoto and Mason Clark either side of Haji Wright. Both these sides with plenty of goals in them. The man in charge is Oliver Langford, and of course at stake tonight for Sheffield United is the chance to go top, and also 5 clear of Burnley, who are in third, who take on Bristol City at Turf Moor tomorrow. And remember, Sheffield United and Burnley face each other on Bank Holiday Monday, Easter Bank Holiday Monday, a game you'll hear live across the Talksport network from 5:30. It's one I'm already getting quite excited about, I can't lie. As for Coventry, for them, 2 points already ahead of West Bromwich Albion and Bristol City in those playoff places. They're a long way from automatic promotion, but they could go 5 clear of 6th or 7th if they manage victory tonight. Spine-tingling atmosphere as ever at Bramall Lane. There are a few empty seats. The travelling support are packed away to our left-hand side in the lower tier as ever. The Tony Curry stands packed to the rafters, the Kop as well. The flags are flying, and it's going to be Coventry City that get us underway, kicking from left to right in the opening 45 minutes here at Bramall Lane on Talksport 2. And immediately Hamza Chowdhury's called in to hack a ball clear from the edge of his own penalty area away to our right-hand side. Courtney, where do you think this game's going to be won and lost tonight?
I think it's about the two centre-forwards for me in Wright and Campbell, and it's about how the respective centre-halves deal with that. I was thinking about Sheffield United and the games I've watched this season, and it's such a shame, I think, for me that they lost Harry Souttar. I think they looked a better defensive unit with him in it, so they're having to deal with that. It's quite interesting since Chowdhury's come in as well. They're playing slightly differently. He drops in really deep, and they almost play a back three at times. But for me, I want him to get a little bit higher and almost give those centre-halves in Robinson and Ahmed Hodzic a little bit more space to work, because I sometimes think it almost overcrowds that area.
Chowdhury, a player, of course, who joined on loan from Leicester. He was at Watford for a period as well when Chris Wilder had his brief tenure down at Vicarage Road as well. So a player that Chris Wilder was familiar with and likes what he's got to offer. And Sheffield United on the attack here down this left-hand edge of the penalty area with Tyrese Campbell. Almost got a shot away. It was half cleared. And now Coventry City will get it up towards halfway and try and form a counter-attack. But the ball goes out of play and it will be a throw for Sheffield United on this left-hand side. They've lost just one of their last 9 in the Championship. 7 victories and 1 draw in that period. The only defeat since the 24th of January was against Leeds here, of course. A game where for so long they held their own before succumbing, as many teams do, towards to Leeds at the end of the game. But of course, Leeds tomorrow, Swansea. You think it's a home banker, but a few people are just starting to say they're wobbling a little.
Yeah, it's interesting, and obviously, you know, in the position that they were last season and had a drop off. So I think people are mentioning that. I can't see them falling off to that degree personally. But yeah, it's certainly, I think, now more closer at the top than maybe, look at this a couple of months ago, than I expected it to be right now between, Sheffield United, Leeds, and obviously putting Burnley in that category as well.
Throw on the far side for Coventry City on halfway in their traditional sky blue white shorts and also their sky blue socks, of course. And Oliver Dovan away to our left-hand side, all in green, protecting the goal in front of the travelling supporters, and it's the traditional red and white stripes for the Blades, of course, with the black shorts and the black socks. And Michael Cooper away to our right-hand side, all in orange. 19 clean sheets for him so far in the Championship this season. He kept the 6 in a row back in September, and actually didn't concede his first goal here until Boxing Day, which was quite remarkable. It was a terrific run of home form that they had, and the man they signed from Plymouth at the start of the season has been pivotal to the defensive work that Sheffield United do. I mean, they have won 10 games by a goal to nil, so it tells you an awful lot about how they're happy to grind out results sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's been the signing of the season for me. He's been brilliant and good distribution as well. It's not just about his goalkeeping, but you always see he's on the front foot. He's ready to help the defence out, and good distribution qualities, which obviously nowadays every goalkeeper needs.
Victor Torp with the ball on the far side for Coventry City. They're just trying to get the ball down and fill their way into the game. 3.5 minutes on the clock here at Bramall Lane on Talksport 2. It remains Sheffield United 0, Coventry City 0. Don't forget that game as well between Leeds and Swansea that I mentioned tomorrow lunchtime tomorrow afternoon is live here on Talksport 2 as well. That's from 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Throwing on that far side to be taken by Sariki for Sheffield United as he gets up towards halfway. They look to just settle and find Campbell again on this left-hand side. Good intervention that time from Van Eyck on that far side. He managed to just get a good foot in on this occasion and half clear that ball. And it's going to be a free kick this time for Coventry City. And it's midway inside their own half. And a quick word from Oliver Langford here for Tyrese Campbell.
Yeah, he's just gone nose to nose pretty much with Grimes. He's just getting involved where he doesn't need to. I think Campbell thought it wasn't a foul, maybe a bit of a dive, but then just getting involved in each other's faces when they don't really need to.
9 goals to his name already this season, Tyrese Campbell. 9 is the most he's ever scored in a season. Did it a few times for Stoke as well. Very impressive leading that line for Sheffield United when you consider Kiefer Moore amongst the substitutes as well tonight. 5 goals to his name as well. They've certainly shared them around in the Sheffield United side. But Coventry with possession, very comfortable at the back right now. Bobby Thomas out wide to this right hand side. Sakamoto picks it up just inside the Sheffield United half, and again they'll go back towards halfway once more, where Matt Grimes has dropped in between the centre halves just to pick up possession, and then finds Bobby Thomas again, the scorer of a couple of late goals in recent times. He scored against Sheffield United as well when these sides met back in November in that 2-2. Got 3 goals in his last 7 games, has Bobby Thomas, and a couple of those coming beyond the 90th minute to secure much needed victories for Frank Lampard's side in this terrific run that they're on right now. Away by Dovan, up towards halfway. Haji Wright just tries to take that ball down, and it comes on that left-hand side to Binks, who clips the ball forward into the channel. Chasing after it this time is Mason Clark, and out of play it goes for a throw on that far side for Coventry City, about 25 yards from goal.
Sariki's not happy with that. He was sure that he was fouled. You see what he's trying to do, just trying to shepherd the ball out, using the byline as almost an extra body. Felt that he got a push in the back from Mason Clark.
Grimes and Torp keeping the ball very well here for Coventry City, and then in the end going all the way back to Dovan away to our left-hand side. Very comfortable on the ball. I think it's something that Frank Lampard was very keen to implement here. They always played very good football, of course, under Mark Robins anyway. And I know there was much discord when Mark Robins was relieved of his duties out the CBS Arena, but I think those Coventry City fans are okay with it now.
Yeah, certainly. Look, I think when you've got someone like Robbins that is synonymous with a club, I think it's always going to be a difficult situation, going to divide opinion. But yeah, the job that Frank Lampard has come in and done it has been absolutely brilliant, and looking to maybe go one better. Obviously, reached the playoffs not too long back, were beaten by Luton, Coventry, but obviously they're hoping to go one step further. It's interesting though, I think, are they set up for that? Were they expecting that this season to go and do that? So if they do go up, it's maybe a different situation with Sheffield United, where there's that expectation for them to go up, and you talked about the recruitment they've recruited to do that. I suppose the question for Coventry, would they be ready?
Well, certainly he's been very open throughout about what the ambition was, but again, as we've seen with some of the sides that found their way into the Premier League this season, it's not the easiest. Here's Campbell again away down this left-hand side. Everyone standing waiting for a flag. The flag never arrived, and the driven shot comes in from Brewster, and he's blocked at the edge of the 6-yard area and cleared away on that left-hand side for Coventry City up to Hadji Wright. And the game almost just stood still for a moment. Everyone looked at the assistant on the far side and nobody moved.
Yeah, it was Campbell initially, wasn't it, down the left-hand side, and he seems to bend his run and keep himself on side. He does. I think it's actually potentially Thomas who's keeping him on. But, you know, Sheffield United do what you should do. Play to the whistle. They keep going. It's a really good ball, by the way, from Tyrese Campbell to set back Ryan Brewster on the edge of the box, who does well with it. He hits it, and it's a good defensive block in the end.
Yeah, the inside of the left thigh of Jake Bidwell responsible for preventing that reaching Oliver Dovan, or potentially the back of the net on this occasion. Now a chance. Van Eyck on this near side gets the ball across the 6-yard area. Has to be cleared away. Right at the edge of that 6-yard box by Siddiqui, who does well. Comes out as far as Sakamoto on this near side. Helped on its way by Jamie Allen, the captain's armband today, of course, for Coventry City. Wanting it played forward to feet is Victor Torp, who's about 35 yards out from goal, but instead they spread out wide on this right-hand side into the feet once more of Sakamoto, who again goes back inside his own territory towards Grimes. Oh, and that's good interception by Hamza Chowdhury, who's just overrun it as he tried to get away, and that's been leathered into the feet of Chris Wilder by Bobby Thomas.
I love it though. He didn't flinch, did he, Chris Wilder?
Could you ever imagine Chris Wilder flinching at anything?
Well, exactly. But no, it's a shame for Hamza Chowdhury actually, because he does really well initially in terms of winning the ball, but that touch lets him down. But he does seem to be playing a little bit higher up, which I like.
Brilliant from Sakamoto, finds Hadji Wright, and again Chowdhury's in with an important challenge to just drive the ball back towards his own goalkeeper Michael Cooper, who does well to get that ball away. Then it comes to Hadji Wright again, who looks to try and take it down. Then the pressure's on from Victor Torp, and the offside flag goes up on this near side, and a couple of scary moments for Sheffield United.
Yeah, it's Hamza Chowdhury there. He ducks out the way of the ball. I think he wants it to go back through to his goalkeeper, but wasn't quite aware of everything that's around him, so they've got away with one there, Sheffield United.
Remember as well, tomorrow afternoon there is FA Cup action for you on the Talksport network over on Talksport. 12:15 kick-off between Fulham and Crystal Palace, that FA Cup quarter-final. Here we've got Watford against Plymouth for you. That's a 12:30 kick-off tomorrow lunchtime. And then over on Talksport, after that FA Cup game, of course, it's just EFL action throughout the afternoon, and Scottish and non-league, all the goals as they go in with Adrian and the team tomorrow afternoon from around about 2:15, unless, of course, we end up with extra time and penalties between Fulham and Crystal Palace in that FA Cup quarter-final. And, of course, the only place you can hear all 4 FA Cup quarter-finals across this weekend is the Talksport network. On that far side, it'll be a throw for Coventry City midway inside their own half. We've almost had 11 minutes here at Bramall Lane on Talksport 2. It's Sheffield United 0, Coventry City 0. And both sides have started quite brightly in this game, haven't they? There's plenty of intent.
Yeah, they haven't had that opportunity, haven't they, both teams, to rest and recover through the international breaks. I know, obviously, respectively, there'll be certain players that have been away, but I think it's always a good time to recoup. But also, in terms of the managers, it can be a bit of a reset. You actually get that time on the training ground, because in the EFL especially, the games are so thick and fast. It's almost about, play the game, recover. There's not always too much input, and managers can get into the players. So it'll be nice for Wilder and Lampard respectively to be able to do that with their players.
Well, a little bit difficult to comprehend. There's only 8 games left in the Championship season. 38 played by most of the sides, of course, particularly those near the top of the table. And interesting fixtures coming up, as we mentioned. Coventry have got Burnley at home next weekend. Big game for them. And then West Brom, Middlesbrough, a couple of playoff rivals at some point in the coming weeks. Throwing on the far side here for Sheffield United. It'll be a long one from Robinson into the penalty area to the danger zone. Brilliant header away from Bobby Thomas, but the referee had seen an infringement inside the box and blows his whistle anyway. But Thomas had got there with a cracking header anyway. And that potent weapon as ever from Robinson for Sheffield United.
Hodzic wasn't happy though. I think it was Bidwell that literally pretty much pulled the shirt over his neck at one point, so he wasn't happy about that, but the infringement obviously elsewhere had already happened.
Dovan away to our left hand side. 28th start of the campaign for him. 7 clean sheets in total in the league. Played every game since Boxing Day for this Coventry City side. There was a bit of shuffling around and a few injuries, which meant Bradley Collins played some games, as did Ben Wilson too, as they were trying to find the right solution early on in the campaign. So they were shipping a lot of goals, particularly late on in games. They seem to have turned that round and seem to be scoring them themselves. Here's Sakamoto's ball through to Haji Wright, who I think raised his arm at the time because he knew he wasn't going to get there. And it goes through to Cooper, and Sheffield United can build from the back again, which they do. Little layoff by Sidney Peck that time too. Harrison Burrows getting involved in the game for the first time, of course. Both he and Mason Clark were at Posh last season, winners of course of that Football League trophy. And they'll be back there again, taking on Birmingham City in the final on Sunday, April the 13th. That's a game, of course, that you can hear live here on Talksport 2 as well. Birmingham City have sold out their allocation of over 46,000 tickets for that game, so it promises to be a cracking atmosphere between Birmingham City and Peterborough. Free kick on the far side, foul this time on Mason Clark, and he takes the free kick very quickly for Coventry City. We've had almost 14 minutes on Talksport 2. It remains 0-0, and it's safely back at the feet away to our left hand side of Dovan, the goalkeeper, the Swede, signed from Hammarby. And he'll put the ball out wide on this right-hand side, and we launched forward by Bobby Thomas, a little bit more direct than we see sometimes from Coventry City. Haji Wright putting the pressure on Ahmed Hodzic, and he does well because they've won themselves a throw. Never with a penalty spot down this right-hand side.
Yeah, he does really well, Haji Wright, because he's got absolutely no right to win anything there. It's just a hopeful ball into an area, and you thought that as Robinson drops off Ahmed Hodzic, he was just going to come round and clear it up, but because of the harrying of Haji Wright, they win something. Coventry are throwing in a really good area. It's going to be a long one in the box.
It is. Milan Van Ivik is going to take it. He started every single game in the Championship for Coventry City this season, and now he's going to try and hurl this ball towards the edge of that 6-yard area. It's a decent header away that time, only as far on this right-hand side of Van Ivik again, who plants the ball back into the box. It was Rian Brewster who was back doing the defending on that occasion, and he also helped out for the second block too. And now it's picked up at the back by Bidwell once more, and here come Coventry City again, who are just pushing and probing right now, and probably seeing a little bit more of the ball than Sheffield United have in the last few minutes.
Really interesting. I don't know whether he's just cold or whether Chris Wilder said something or there's an injury, but Alfie Gilchrist is warming up down the left-hand side by himself now. Normally, 15-10 minutes, every club's different. You go out and, the substitutes, they do the warm-ups, but you normally go out in 3. So I just wonder if something's been said to him and is looking to maybe come on imminently.
Yeah, possibly. Just back from injury. Back on the substitutes bench today, but he is warming up away to our left-hand side. Paul Van Ivik's done really well here. Lays that ball in. There's an offside flag coming. There is. First-time shot was driven in that time by Mason Clark. The flag was up though. Cooper had made the save. Not sure Mason Clark knew the flag was coming.
No, I don't think he did, and it's just his body shape. He can't sort his hips out quick enough. His hips are quite closed. He's trying to open them up, generate the power and direct the ball all at the same time, and he doesn't get it right. It's catching practice for Cooper.
He went 21 league games without a goal, did Mason Clark, since his move from Peterborough. But Lampard seems to have sorted him out. All 5 of his goals this season have come in the last 13 games. And certainly Frank Lampard in the first couple of games I saw was coaching him quite a bit. Here's Gustavo Harmer against his former side on the charge. He goes down after a little pull on the arm from Bobby Thomas. It was theatrical from Harmer, and he's earned Bobby Thomas a yellow card, but it will be a free kick for Sheffield United in a central position about 30 yards out from goal.
Well, Coventry City know better than anybody. This isn't the sort of position that you want to be giving free kicks away, and when Gustavo Harmer's on the pitch, because he knows he's got brilliant quality on the ball, but especially from these dead ball positions, he'll be looking to put the ball in the back of the net. There's no doubt about that.
2 goals in his last 14 games in the league for Gustavo Harmer. Scored 17 in his 3 years at Coventry City. There is, of course, a meeting. I was going to say a mother's meeting. It's Mother's Day weekend, of course. It's Harmer and Brereton Diaz has gone in. Rhian Brewster's there. Harrison Burrows is quite fancying this with his left foot as well, I think, from what you can see. I can't see Gustavo Harmer giving this one up against his former side, though.
No, and I mean, you would say it potentially suits Burrows more, the left-footed, because it's over to the right-hand side of the box. But as you say, I can't see Harmer giving this one up easily.
About 30 yards out from goal. He's just going to move the ball a little with his right hand. The referee, Oliver Langford, is happy. Gustavo Harmer or Burrows then over this for Sheffield United. Right-footed, sends it into the top corner. It just had to be, didn't it? Gustavo Harmer hammers one right into the top bins against his former side. It's his 8th goal of this championship season, but what a strike from Gustavo Harmer. And he gives Sheffield United the lead. Sheffield United 1, Coventry City 0.
It is absolutely sensational. And he doesn't celebrate, and there's a part of me that I understand it and I get it, and it's, in some spheres, it's the right thing to do, but how can you not celebrate a goal this good? He steps up, there's barely any backlift in his leg, it's a couple of steps, and he whips it into that top right-hand corner. I think Doven gets a little bit of a touch to it, but it's so close to that postage stamp that there's no keeper that's going to save that because of the pace and the precision on it. What a goal.
Yeah, Dovan does get a hand to it, but he's bent that from outside the post, round and in. It's absolutely exquisite from Gustavo Harmer, and it gives Sheffield United the lead. And there's a free kick here for Coventry City as they look to respond. But what is it about coming up against your former side and the ability to just do that?
I mean, as I said, it's such a shame that he doesn't celebrate it, because that is a goal that deserves to be celebrated. It is sensational. The technique to get it up and over the wall, the whip, it's got to come back down. It's got to also have the power to beat the goalkeeper. And it's funny, isn't it, how football always writes these stories.
Yeah, truly sensational from Gustavo Harmer. And there's 2 of him, or 2 of his faces, on the front cover of the programme today. Couple of Callum O'Hare as well. You almost feel like they're trying to make a point. Sheffield United, with the 2 former Coventry stars being on the front of the programme today. They've got some defending to do now, though. Here's the free kick for Coventry City. It's about 25 yards inside the Sheffield United half. And they've sent the likes of Binks and Thomas forward. And Bidwell's in there too, and it's actually Binks who does get on the end of the free kick, but can only head it well wide away to our right-hand side. 20 minutes played here. Sheffield United leading the way on Talksport 2, and these are the thoughts of Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, and it's up until now, up until that goal, it's been a pretty even game. Probably the best chance before that fell to Rhian Brewster when Tyrese Campbell beats that offside trap. Does really well, cuts the ball back on the edge of the box. It's well blocked, but just looking back up, we're getting the replays here in the press box, and every angle you see that free kick from, it just gets better and better.
It's pure filth, isn't it? It's absolute filth, that free kick. Absolutely stunning from Gustavo Harmer. And the Coventry City fans, well, they got a good view of that as it sailed right into that top corner in front of where they are away to our left-hand side. Game on here for sure. Sheffield United 1, Coventry City 0. And how can Coventry City respond? A piece of brilliance that you will see time and time again across this weekend, I am absolutely sure. And I said he's not been in the best of goal scoring form, but when you can do that Not sure it really matters that much. Jamie Allen trying to get on the ball in midfield for Coventry City, but again, well looked after. And Harmer seems to have a bit of a free role in this team as well, doesn't he? I know everyone kind of sets him up in a wide position, but he is given that freedom to go wherever he feels.
Yeah, when you've got a player that good with that type of ability, that's what you want to try and do, release him. And he's got such quality on the ball, and even whether it be the goals or assists, even if he doesn't get that, he's always central to everything that Sheffield United do. He's always involved, he's always in the thick of it.
Ball down the side by Harrison Burrows was a fairly decent one, because it just span out of play. So the throw on this near side will be Coventry City's from midway inside their own half, as they look to find a way back on terms in this game, with Gustavo Harmer's free kick separating the two sides as things stand. They've not been the best at keeping clean sheets on the road. The last away clean sheet was back on the 1st of February for Coventry City. Another one goes by today. They had won 4 of their last 5 away games in the Championship. Their only defeat coming by 2-0 against Derby County, of course, who themselves have found a little bit of form with 3 straight wins in an attempt to get away from the lower echelons of the Championship table. On that far side, Coventry City have possession again, helped backwards that time by Matt Grimes, joined of course from Swansea in January. And again, it's comfortably looked after in the middle of the park by Harmer, who gives the ball safely back to Cooper away to our right hand side for Sheffield United. He'll go direct down this near touchline towards Burrows, who just skipped away, and it's Burrows who tried to win the header on this near side, and now Harmer's got it back and in the bed of Sakamoto, and just runs into Sakamoto, who manages to escape away on the near side, and it's back once more at the edge of the penalty area, and a chance for Coventry City to try and build again, but the pressure's coming. The press is good from Sheffield United on that far side. Throw is won though by the visitors, just short of halfway, taken quickly by Bidwell, and it's short into Grimes again. And all that work being done inside their own half at the moment, Coventry City not really being allowed to get out by Sheffield United.
No, they're not, and the only ball they're tending to hit is that big direct one to try and find Haji Wright. But you're right, they're setting up the press really well, and it starts from Campbell because he cuts off the pitch, so he makes sure he doesn't go direct into the goalkeeper. He shows him one side. That allows his teammates to half the pitch, and when the ball does go long, they can win it on the second phase, Sheffield United.
They've broken this time with Torp, who tries to get it through to Mason Clark. Chowdhury's attempted clearance doesn't work. Mason Clark again, left hand side, ball whipped in on that occasion, or attemptedly whipped in by Binks, but didn't quite get there, and the shot's driven over the top of the crossbar from the edge of the penalty area by Victor Torp in the end. And that will be a goal kick away to our right-hand side. You listen to Sheffield United against Coventry City in the EFL Championship, live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order McDelivery on the app and get rewards points. 18 plus. Participating restaurants. Delivery fees and terms apply. See mcdonalds.com. Plenty of conversations in the Coventry City technical area. Frank Lampard hasn't moved from his coaching zone in the opening 25 minutes of this game. He'd have been pleased with the start his side made as well, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would. They went toe-to-toe with Sheffield United, and in terms of still now, they're not out of the game by any stretch of the imagination, but especially now that Sheffield United are a goal ahead and can defend well, I think they've got to do a little bit more to try and get into the final third, because they've not done that enough. Coventry, for me, they've not got the likes of Sakamoto and Mason Clark involved enough in the wide areas. It's just that long ball into Haji Wright that then, you're looking at the size of Robinson and Ahmedhodzic, for example. Their aerial balls, they're always going to win those battles, those two centre-halves.
66th the league meeting between these two sides. 23 wins apiece for them. They've won 2 of the last 4 have Coventry City against Sheffield United. Of course, it was 2-2 when they met earlier in the season. That was despite Sheffield United being reduced to 10 men on that occasion. Here come Coventry City down the right with Jamie Allen. Little ball inside. Van Eyck on the near side once more. Back to Allen. Grimes is looking busy, but it's Bobby Thomas who gives it away straight to the feet of Chowdhury. Now the counter's on. Tyrese Campbell down this left-hand side. Ben Brereton Diaz is across, and it's Ben Brereton Diaz inside the box. Miscontrols first time. Just gets it back, but had he controlled that and fired the shot, that may well have been 2-0. It's Peck, back to Chowdhury, on to Peck again. right hand edge of the box. Peck's ball over, he's deflected and safely into the arms of the Coventry City keeper away to our left hand side.
Now, Ben Brereton Diaz has to do better with this. It's simple as that. Tyrese Campbell does ever so well. The weight of pass, the little dink, means it gets past the defender, is exquisite. The touch needs to be in front of him, Brereton Diaz, and then he's straight in front of goal. He just completely gets it wrong, takes his eye off the ball.
Am I being generous? It did seem to just skip off the surface a little. Is that me being too nice to him?
You are being very generous.
In that case, let's talk that. Did you know he's only 25? I thought he was much older.
Wow.
He's only 25 years of age, Ben Brereton Diaz. Feels like he's been around for an age. He's done all right since he's returned here to Sheffield United, of course. Didn't really deliver for them as they tried to stay in the Premier League last season. But back on loan from Southampton, of course. 3 goals in his 11 appearances so far. And really could have made a fourth, or had a fourth a few moments ago. 27.5 minutes played. You listen to Talksport 2. Sheffield United 1. Coventry City 0. And here comes Sheffield United on that right-hand side. Into Peck in the centre circle. Given away to Sakamoto, and then he just runs into Harmer, and it was really poor from Sakamoto on that occasion. And now down this left-hand side, Burrows. Sakamoto this time better defensively anyway. Ball's not gone out of play. Just rolled on the touchline on this near side. And the referee just held his arms up and said, well, that doesn't look like it's gone. And Coventry will profit from that down the left-hand side with Jake Bidwell. Bidwell's got Mason Clark alongside him. And it's Mason Clark he finds. Haji Wright lurking inside the penalty area. Left-footed ball across, easily headed away by Ahmed Hodzic. And again, Ryan Brewster's at the edge of his own penalty area. Clipping the ball clear down that right-hand side for Brereton Diaz to chase after. No messing from Louis Binks, who's launched that up to the top of the stand on the far side.
I think Sheffield United now are just feeling the momentum swinging their way. Yes, they've got the goal, but it was still pretty even, whereas now they look like they're taking more control of the game, Sheffield United, especially in the midfield. I mentioned Hamza Chowdhury is just a little bit higher than I've been seeing him play recently, so he's giving that assurance to the defence, and it's allowing Peck and Harmer to really come in and dominate the midfield.
That's brilliant from Tyrese Campbell, lifting the ball out into space here on the left for Burrows. Harrison Burrows clips it across, and it was kind of between everybody, between the edge of the box and the penalty spot, but no one was really in there, and it's come out on the far side. And he's picked up by Siddiqui, and then to Chowdhury, and then Harmer turns it round the corner again to Siddiqui, who's done brilliantly inside the box. Siddiqui cuts it across, and Tyrese Campbell with a delightful, delicate finish into the bottom corner with his left foot, and he doubles Sheffield United's advantage. Campbell's on to 10 and into double figures, his best scoring season of his career. And Sheffield United already, with only half an hour gone, look like they're on their way to 3 points. Sheffield United 2, Coventry City 0.
This finish is exceptional. It really is. Tyrese Campbell makes this look very, very easy. And you can tell that this is a striker that's in form, full of confidence. And Siddiqui does ever so well on the edge of the box. He maybe gets a little bit fortunate. Rides a challenge that comes in. Harmer yet again is at the heart of it with the ball through initially to Siddiqui. But Tyrese Campbell, when this ball is fired across to him, he's got to open up his hips, he's got to get the right touch, and the angle's got to go back across the goal because he's almost near the near post, and it takes a little bit of a bounce just before it gets to him. That is exceptional.
2 terrific goals for Sheffield United. Harmer and Campbell. And in the blink of an eye, it's Sheffield United 2, Coventry City 0, and plenty for Frank Lampard to ponder down below. Really was a lovely finish again from the... Oh, and Dovan has been caught, has he? Well, yeah, here we go. Dovan inside his penalty area was looking to play with the ball and dribble it out, I think. And Campbell's gone in with a challenge and has won the ball, but the referee gave the free kick. The assistant didn't give it initially, and let's see what Courtney makes of it.
Anywhere else on the pitch, that doesn't get called as a foul. It's as simple as that. There's been a couple of moments where they've been caught, and as the ball is about to be shifted by Dovan, he's trying to be a little bit too clever, and he's trying to Cruyff it back towards himself, and he actually makes contact with Tyrese Campbell. I do think he does look injured. I do think he's hurt himself, but it's more the contact that he makes with Campbell more than anything else.
Well, what this has done is allowed Frank Lampard to gather his troops on this near touchline. We've talked an awful lot this season about these injuries to goalkeepers and the opportunity to regroup. I think this probably is a genuine injury this time, but it does give him a chance, particularly to Haji Wright, he was just talking to, in terms of perhaps holding the ball up. It gives me a chance to talk you through some of the great live football coming up across the weekend on the Talksport network. As I mentioned, all 4 FA Cup quarterfinals. The only place you can get them on national radio is on Talksport and Talksport network, of course. 12:15 tomorrow, Fulham against Crystal Palace, the first of those. And then the second game is tomorrow evening at 5:15 with Brighton against Nottingham Forest. Then on Sunday we've got Preston against Aston Villa. That gets underway at 1:30. And then the game that's exclusively live to Talksport is Bournemouth against Man City at 4:30 on Sunday afternoon. Of course, as well as that, we've got the Championship for you with Watford against Plymouth, followed by Leeds against Swansea tomorrow afternoon on Talksport 2. And Adrian Durham will be here with Game Day Live from 2:15 tomorrow, taking you round the grounds in the EFL. Plenty of big stories to follow as well in League 1 and League 2, and of course the Championship. Plus that full classified roundup for you just after 5 o'clock as well. Treatment ongoing here then for the Coventry City keeper, Tyrese Campbell, with that 10th goal of the campaign for him, signed from Stoke at the start of the season. It's 4 goals now in his last 5 games. He actually had a run as well where he scored 6 in 9 between October and December. He seems to be one of those strikers who goes in spells, and kind of the confidence just sends him on one of those terrific kind of runs.
Yeah, you know, some forwards, and it depends which way you look at it, are maybe a little bit more consistent in terms of, you know, there's a goal, not obviously every game, but every few games, whereas, as you say, he seems to go in fits and starts, and that is, for me, it's a confidence player where when you're feeling good, you have those purple patches as a striker and you know everything you touch is going to turn to gold, and is certainly in one of those patches again, Tyrese Campbell.
Well, the good news for Coventry is they've got Ben Wilson and Brad Collins both amongst the substitutes this evening in case Oliver Dovan can't continue. He is still looking a little ginger, and they're saying he needs a stretcher. It looks like he isn't going to continue. And they're going to have to make a change here, Coventry City. I suspect Brad Collins will be the chosen one by Frank Lampard. We'll keep an eye on, the referee making the signal. Please, can we have a stretcher? I just don't think goalkeepers, and maybe he did catch his studs in the ground, but I don't want to see goalkeepers doing Cruyff turns inside that penalty area. No, I'm sorry, it just doesn't work for me.
You know what it is? He just gets caught, and it's his right knee, because as he's trying to come back on that Cruyff, he overextends his knee. It's not much about the contact, it's more about, I think he's rushing, he knows he's in trouble, he's then trying to do a Cruyff turn when the ball's too far away from him, and I think he overextends his knee.
Well, he's coming off as a stretcher. It means we've had quite a lengthy delay here, maybe about 3 or so minutes already. Chris Wilder's deep in conversation with the assistant on this near side. A few of them have got balls out there just to keep themselves warm. Gustavo Harmer's come across from instructions, and it will be Bradley Collins who will appear. 8 appearances already this season in the Championship. The former Chelsea youth keeper hasn't appeared since the 21st of December. Only 1 clean sheet to his name so far this season, but he's going to go and join the fray for Coventry City once the stretcher makes its way over on this near side. And I mean, I don't think, based on what we've seen so far, depending on how fit Jack Redoni is, it really wouldn't surprise me if we saw Jack Redoni at half time, because he's been quality for them this season, hasn't he?
He has, and I think it was one of the first things I asked you, wasn't it? Is Redoni back in? We've certainly missed him. Is it Oxford? I think it was that he picked up that injury, so I think maybe more Coventry fans were hoping that time in the international break was not just going to get him back on the bench, but back into the start 11. But you have to try and be careful with these things, work players back, and they'll be on a limited amount of minutes. But as you say, I think if you're a Coventry City fan, you want to see him sooner rather than later.
Yeah, very much. I mean, it's 3 games he missed with a dislocated shoulder. They're the only games he's missed all season, actually. He's been a real talisman for Coventry City. He scored 7 goals in his 2 years at Huddersfield. He's already got 5 in his first campaign here for the Sky Blues. And Gustavo Harmer goes across just to do a high five. That's Hamza Chowdhury and Tyrese Campbell as well. as Oliver Dovan leaves the field beneath us, and this will allow Brad Collins to enter the field of play for Coventry City. They're just taking their time over it at the moment. They're still part of the stretcher on the field, and I mean, that's what, nearly 6 minutes we've had, just over 6 minutes. Lengthy delay. How hard is it as a player when you have these kind of, I know they've been kicking balls around and just trying to keep loose, but in terms of concentration as well?
Yeah, it's difficult. It's not too bad. It's one of the more milder nights in Sheffield, so I think that's when it is really detrimental, when it's cold or it's wet, and you've got to try and get yourself back up to sort of temperature again. But yeah, you're right, from a concentration point of view, there's two sides to it. You know, Sheffield United for me were in the ascendancy. They look like the team that were going to go forward and potentially get the next goal, so it will halt their momentum. For Coventry, it just gives them a little bit of time to regroup, and obviously, as you mentioned, they've been into the manager having a bit of a chat, and it's, I think now, especially when you're looking up, it's just you're waiting for the referee to see how much is added on, because you almost have a sixth sense as a player. You know where you're at within the game even without looking at the scoreboard, and this almost takes you a little bit out of kilter.
Well, we're about to get back underway. I think it's probably been about 6 minutes the delay. Just a moment for Brad Collins to get a feel of the ball in the Coventry City penalty area, away to our left hand side, and it will be a free kick then for Coventry when we get things back underway. Oliver Langford, our referee, is happy, and immediately Collins launches it towards the edge of the Sheffield United box, where it's going to bounce, and it has to be headed by Ahmed Hodzic, because Cooper had come and wasn't going to get there, and it was Haji Wright who was in a good position as that ball's just laid into space for Brereton Diaz to chase after on that far side. But it's back with Collins, and the jostling from the crowd, of course, after the mistake that Dovan made that led to his injury, and also that free kick for Coventry City. Here's Hamza Chowdhury giving it away to Sakamoto. It's hacked clear, in fact, in the end by Robinson on this near side, and the ball will be turned away nicely by Bobby Thomas, and just clips the ball forward, does Thomas on this near side. Only as far though as Hamza Chowdhury. He's given it away. He was looking for Brereton Diaz, who'd slipped, I think, and now a chance for Bidwell to find Mason Clark on that far side. Mason Clark clips an early ball in, looking for Haji Wright, and Cooper is big and strong and comes and collects at the edge of his 6-yard box.
I think that's one of Michael Cooper's best assets for me. He is so commanding within his area. He's very confident to come to claim the ball. He'll clear everyone out, whether that be an opponent or a teammate, and I think it just gives so much confidence, not to the defence but the rest of the team as well.
It looks like that was well over 7 minutes, that delay, so we're going to get plenty of time added on at the end of this first half. Reminder, when these sides met back in November, it was 2-2, but that was a comeback from Coventry City after Sheffield United ended up being reduced to 10 men. You see down below, Callum O'Hare, another one of the faces that features on the front of the Sheffield United programme tonight, is warming up, of course. He left Coventry City for free in the summer, not like Harmer, who they received £15 million for in a transfer fee, but he's warming up down below as that ball's swung into the Sheffield United penalty area on this near side by Van Ivik, and it's out for what will be another throw, and I suspect we'll see the Dutchman try and launch this one in from this near side.
Yeah, he's trying to get him in the game more. He's provided a threat. He also pushes Harrison Burrows back at the same time to make sure that he doesn't get forward on the Sheffield United left-hand side, and down the Coventry right is when they've looked most threatening.
Well, here comes the throw down this near touchline. Again, it's a really good angle to get it in towards the edge of that 6-yard box. His body's flying everywhere. Referee not interested, and that's a poor attempt to flick over his head, I think, from Grimes. And then the attempt is to keep the ball in play. It runs out for what will be a throw to Sheffield United on this near side. 40 minutes played, but as I say, we'll have probably at least 7 added when we get to half-time. 2-0 to Sheffield United. You're listening to Talksport 2. You've missed 2 exceptional goals that we'll dissect at half-time from Gustavo Harmer and Tyrese Campbell. Very different, but the skill involved in both quite exceptional from Sheffield United, who, after a slow start to the game, very much in control. Brereton Diaz down the right-hand side finds Brewster. While Brewster on the charge down that right-hand touchline. Sadiqi's there to help out as well. Gets back to Brereton Diaz, who clips it over, and turning in the box is Brewster again, who gets the shot away. But gets it away high and wide of Collins' goal away to our left-hand side.
Difficult chance, Brewster. He's got to take that on the turn, swivel on his weaker foot as well. But he's looked really bright, and obviously he gets the big goal in the Steel City derby, a couple of goals recently, and he's obviously had the issues with the at times lack of goal scoring, the injuries, but I think we're getting to a point now with Ryan Brewster where we're starting to see the best of him again.
Yeah, 7 goals in 98 league appearances for Sheffield United prior to tonight. Of course, that goal against Millwall in December was his first since October 2022, and if ever there's a case of a price tag hanging round your neck as a bit of a millstone, I think probably Ryan Brewster would be case study number 1.
Yeah, and it's hard, isn't it, because the player doesn't choose the transfer fee. But I remember doing that game actually, and the reaction of the fans and the players told you a lot. You know, the end of the game, and all going up to Ryan, the players making sure he went and celebrated with the fans, and yeah, it showed that he's such an important player in this squad, and very obviously well liked.
I think when you get the winner against Sheffield Wednesday, though, you get the freedom of the city
well,
after
exactly.
that. Really,
you can do what you want.
Yeah, well, certainly the red and white half. Referees just stopped the game here for a potential head injury on this near side, much to the frustration of some of the Sheffield United supporters around us. Milan van Ivik is the player that is down and being checked immediately by the Coventry City physios, who've been incredibly busy in the last few minutes. And it is that potential for a head injury that Oliver Langford was looking out for. Hamza Chowdhury, I think, just asking the question and being told the reason why. We've got 2 minutes left on the clock, and I think it'll be a fairly lengthy period added on at the end of this first half. And now, obviously, he'll have to leave the field for 30 seconds. So Coventry City will be down to 10 men as we head towards half-time. There's going to be a drop ball on this near side, of course. It will be uncontested though, and Bobby Thomas will get us back underway just down below us, and he immediately tries to clip a ball in to find the Torp. Allen's there and gets it back on that left hand side to Bidwell out wide to Mason Clark, who's on the charge this time. And here goes Mason Clark. He's now got support wide on that left hand touchline from Bidwell. Left footed ball clipped over, looking for the head, I think, of Mason Clark, but in the end Sakamoto was probably the Coventry player that got closest to it, as it was easily headed clear. And now they have it again on that far side with Grimes. Grimes goes back inside his own half, short to Binks. One of the 2 changes made for Coventry City tonight, Binks and Bidwell, the 2 that came into the starting 11, and it's back with Binks again on halfway. Oh, he's giving it away to Brewster, and then it's forward to Tyrese Campbell. Campbell's on the charge here. He's got Harmer alongside him. Back inside once more to Brewster, edge of the box. Tyrese Campbell again gets it out from under his feet onto his left foot. Back to Burrows. Harmer, 25 yards from goal, into space on that right hand side. Sadiqi's there, and now Hamza Chowdhury will pick it up, 25 yards out from goal. Central position, worked on that far touchline. Sidney Peck now comes in, and Sadiqi will have it back once more. Cuts in field. It's a really tame challenge from Jamie Allen that time, and it allows Sheffield United to switch play again to this left hand side and to Harrison Burrows. Back to Ahmed Hodzic, and they're happy now to keep the ball and go back inside their own half.
They look so dangerous though, don't they, Sheffield United, on that transition, and Coventry are giving the ball away too easily.
8 additional minutes, and here comes Sheffield United again down that right hand side. Sadiqi on the charge, looking to get the cross in. It's blocked out that time by Bidwell, and it will be a corner on that far side for Sheffield United. It's there right. Bidwell with a block, and again some of the challenges from Coventry City look a little lacklustre.
Bit tame, don't want to get caught, maybe don't want to commit the foul, but I just think when Sheffield United move it quickly with tempo, they just look half a yard quicker than Coventry at the moment.
They do. We've had 40 seconds of the 8 added at the end of this first half, and it's a corner for Sheffield United. Their right hand side, left footed. This is going to be swung in by Harrison Burrows. Ahmed Hodzic and Robinson, of course, will be fairly obvious targets. Brewster's in there as well, as is Brereton Diaz, and it comes out towards Peck, who tried to get up and win the header, cleared as far as Harmer. Harmer plays it back in. There's no offside flag come in as the shot is drilled and then turned in by Brereton Diaz. No, it wasn't by Robinson, should I say, or Ahmed Hodzic even. We'll get there in the end. It doesn't count anyway. Offside flag.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because it's offside, but no, again, I think in the first phase they're asking for offside for Tyrese Campbell, Coventry City, who actually he does look offside. That wasn't given initially, does really well. Quick turn and strikes it. Goalkeeper can only parry into Ahmed Hodzic, but then the flag finally goes up.
Yeah, I thought there may have been someone playing him onside on the far side, but nothing doing from the assistant, as Coventry City were desperate for. Not for the first time in this game. That's a lovely ball from Peck. Finds Brereton Diaz to Campbell. Oh, he's kicked it, and then Peck miskicks it, and then it's helped on his way by Campbell at the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's tipped over by Brad Collins. Opportunities are plenty for Sheffield United, and in the end, Collins to the rescue.
Well, he can smile at the moment, Tyrese Campbell, because he's already got one and they're 2 up, but he should be doing so much better with this. Brereton Diaz times his run to absolute perfection, and you're just expecting the net to ripple, that to be 3-0, and his touch for most of the game, Tyrese Campbell's been absolutely immaculate, but gets it wrong. The follow-up, by the way, the header from the City Peck shot, is a really good save from Ben Wilson. Oh, sorry, Brad Collins.
Here's the corner on this near side, taken by Harmer towards the back post, and arriving that time was City Peck again, and it was almost taken off his head and out of play for what will be a throw to Sheffield United on that far side. So Campbell kind of almost hit his standing foot, I think, with his first effort, and then Peck's attempted halfway he was into the ground and just bounced in the air. It was maybe 2 or 3 opportunities for Sheffield United to get that third goal and really put this game beyond Coventry City. Maybe they will here. Hamza Chowdhury spins and tries to get in at the byline, but it's out of play for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. And again, there's a little coming together and a squaring up inside the 6-yard box, which Hamza Chowdhury is getting involved with Louis Binks. Binks then just pushes Chowdhury out the way, and that sends Brewster and Brereton Diaz in to get involved, and all of a sudden something and nothing has got blown up into something.
It's, like you say, it's out of nowhere, but as soon as Binks is going to push Chowdhury there, it's like red rag to a bull. As soon as you see that happen to your teammate, I mean, probably says more about me. I was always the first one charging in if anything like that was to happen.
I'd happily have you on my side in an argument, that's fine. Here's the clearance from Brad Collins, and it's again the header won by Chowdhury. He's won quite a few of those in the middle of the park for Sheffield United tonight. And that's going to be a foul on Mason Clark, wasn't it? No, the referee says no. Sadiki looked like he took him down before getting anywhere near the ball. Mason Clark's done well to keep it going. Then again, that outstretched right boot of Chowdhury is there to win the ball back for Sheffield United. Now what can they do with it? Brewster holds it up nicely, finds Burrows on this near side. They want the clip down the touchline. Peck was calling for it. It came. Harmer half does enough to win it back, but then Jamie Allen just stays on his feet. Sakamoto picks up the loose ball, and Coventry City will build from deep inside their own half once more. 4.5 minutes of the 8 added at the end of this first half. Sheffield United 2, Coventry City 0. And you're listening to Talksport 2 with Coventry on the attack. Again, Mason Clark on that far side just tried to step across Ahmed Hodzic that time, but the Bosnian managed to get through and put the ball out of play, and just saying, hang on a minute, he played me, then not the ball. But the referee not interested.
Not having any of it.
Throw on the far side. This one's a short one for Coventry City. Dropped in short to Grimes, then helped on its way again to Mason Clark, who's desperately trying to get more involved in the game, using his physicality on that far side as well. And then again, if you're going to use your physicality against Sheffield United, every single one of them is built to kind of withstand that. That's how they play that game. And at the moment, they're withstanding everything that Coventry City are throwing at them. Collins away to our left-hand side. Out to this near touchline where Bobby Thomas is in plenty of space again. Not too much movement up ahead. Arms folded from Frank Lampard at the edge of his technical area, just turning his head left and right, watching his players, and then in the end, Collins lifts it into touch on this near side, and he's cutting a rather forlorn figure at the moment. Yeah,
and it's similar to his team, really, in terms of that lack of energy. It's quite languid. And they need something to elevate the game, to elevate the tempo. I think it's just a case now probably of getting in at half time and whether it be tactical, whether it be personnel, changes need to be made for Coventry, because it's the way it's going at the moment. This is only going one way, and all you see is a Sheffield United win.
It's the first time in 4 at home that Sheffield United have actually managed to score more than 1 goal. The home form, which for so long was so good, of course, if you remember, they went 9 games in a row at home without conceding early on in the season. Just suddenly deserted them at times, and in amongst that, of course, was that defeat here against Leeds. But they'll look to get it back tonight. A clean sheet would be most welcome. There's only been 1 in the last 5 here, and at the moment they're doing well. Sadiki's done brilliantly to get away from Mason Clark, helped on its way by Brewster. Campbell at the edge of the box drills a shot just low and wide of the left-hand post of Brad Collins. And again, Tyrese Campbell looking so dangerous, but full credit to the work there of Sadiki and also Rhian Brewster.
Yeah, and the relationship that those three seem to be creating week on week is getting better and better. But in terms of Sheffield United, you've mentioned, in terms of the way that they win games sometimes, it's not the prettiest to watch, whereas this performance, out of quite a few of the home games I've seen Sheffield United this season, it's exciting to watch. And as well as doing the right things, looking solid at the back, there's also that excitement going forward, attack after attack.
Yeah, Coventry City very much struggling to cope with it as things stand, and we head towards half time. We're probably in the last 30 seconds of added time at the end of this first half, and it's going to be a throw on this near side for Coventry, just short of halfway, and it's going to be taken by Van Ivik, and the whistle imminent. They'll try and maybe launch one last attack of the half, Coventry City. It's been a while since there's been anything meaningful, and well, Michael Cooper yet to have a save to make. Sakamoto tries to keep it in on this near side. He's not really been present in this game tonight as Tsuhiro Sakamoto. And there is the half-time whistle, and the home supporters around us incredibly happy, and you can understand why. It was a terrific opening 45 minutes from Sheffield United. And Gustavo Harmer, well, you know what they always say about the rule of the X? Well, he's come back to haunt Coventry City tonight. The most exquisite free kick from 30 yards out that he has planted into the top corner to give Sheffield United the lead. Possibly one of the best I've seen for a while in terms of free kicks. The way he bent that was absolutely superb. And then Tyrese Campbell, moving into double figures in the Championship for the season with his 10th goal of the campaign. It's the first time he's done that in his career, and it was a terrific finish as he opened up his left foot to slot the ball into the bottom corner. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk is alongside me. Coventry City started really well, but that free kick from Gustavo Harmer has almost like just taken the wind out of their sails, hasn't it?
Yeah, up until then it was a pretty even game with a lack of chances. The only other big one I can remember was the one from sort of the edge of the box from Rhian Brewster that was blocked. But both teams started really well and had a lot of energy and tempo in the game. But you're right, as soon as that moment of quality happened, it was a sucker punch for Coventry City. You could see it. And from there on, Sheffield United kept on building in terms of their momentum and their tempo. And just looking at the stats in terms of Coventry City, they've only had three shots and one of those being on target, so they're not doing enough to get back into this game, to work Michael Cooper, to worry that defensive line of Sheffield United.
I don't know what you were like on free kicks, but just talk me through.
Not that good, I can tell you that.
But talk me through the technique of how he did that, because you see from up here that it fly into the top corner. Only then, when you see it in slow motion and from behind, do you see the amount of width that he had on that ball
to generate that sort of power so quickly. Because as well, what amazes me about Harmer is he has a really short run up to his free kick, so he's got quite a low backlift. So to have the low backlift, and it's the only other person I can remember, and it's a different sort of situation, but Jermaine Defoe was always one I remembered. He could just get a snapshot off really quickly and generate so much power, and that's what Harmer can do from the free kicks. And the way that he sets up, he almost looks as though he's going to kick it in the opposite corner, almost towards the fans. So really quickly he then swivels his hips with so much trajectory. That's how then he gets the ball up and over. But then to get it back down, it's such a difficult skill, and the way he does it, was absolutely exceptional.
And the other goal, I mean, you are perfectly qualified to talk about finishing, more than maybe free kicks, as you just alluded to. Tyrese Campbell, when that ball is played into him, he's got 5 Coventry City defenders around him, and it's a fairly direct ball to him as well. the way he opens up his body and steers it, I mean, it was an exceptional striker's finish, wasn't it?
It was, but start from the start as well, the way that Harmer actually drops out into the midfield. He plays that first time ball down the right side into Sariki. There's a little bit of fortune on the sort of the apex of the box, but then in terms of that weight of pass into him, it's perfect for Campbell because he's not got to think about it, he's not got to take a touch, and you're right, he's got 5 defenders around him, so he's not got time to take a touch anyway, and it's the way that he can judge the pace of the ball and the flight of the ball as it comes across him. Is at the near post, so the fact he's got to open up really quickly, and it's about getting a good contact on the ball as he comes open. You've got to make sure that your knee's really fixed, so it's almost like the ball's hitting you. And then, yeah, the fact that he's directed it past the goalkeeper again from that sort of angle. But that shows me that that's a forward in a really good vein of form and very, very confident. And, yeah, we'll forgive him for the other shot that he should have put in the back of the net.
And as a striker, I mean, I mentioned that looking through his numbers over the years, never got beyond 9. As a striker, you were aware of that. And then when 100%. That 10th comes in, it's almost like a moment of, is this a real breakthrough for me? He's 25. Is this a moment?
Yeah, you know your numbers. Like as a striker, you always do, and you're always pushing for that next one. You know, double figures or whatever it may be. So the fact that he's never managed to achieve that, and he's got that over the line now, and he doesn't have to think about it. He should be really pushing this season, thinking, right, how can I test myself? How many goals now can I get? How much can I beat that tally by? And then once you've done that, it's right. The next step is I need to do it again.
Yeah, very much so. An impressive opening 45 minutes then from Sheffield United. What will Frank Lampard do? I think we might see Radoni sooner rather than later, but we'll find out obviously when we get the second half underway. But half-time here at Bramall Lane, it's Sheffield United 2, Coventry City 0.
EFL Live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order McDelivery on the McDonald's app and get reward points too. 18 plus participating restaurants. Delivery fees and terms apply. See mcdonalds.com.
It's even bigger than that full house decorating job you've got on. Or that 30-foot high ceiling you've got to paint. It's the Johnston's Decorating Centre Big Sale event with huge savings and multi-buy deals like Colour Plus Vinyl Matte, 10 litre Brilliant White and 5 litre colours, any 2 for £55, and 10 litre John Matte Premium Contract Matte, 2 for £40. So get to your local Johnston's Decorating Centre now or visit johnstonsdc.com. T's and C's apply. Prices exclude VAT at 20%.
It's Lidl's massive garden event, and our 20-volt Parkside cordless range is here to cut through the chaos. Get a pole hedge trimmer for $34.99, chainsaw for $49.99, and lawnmower for just $59.99. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores, GB only.
Woo! Amazon Spring Deal days are here. So whether you're spring hiking or spring cleaning, you can save up to 45% off on all the things you need. From electronics and home to sports and so much more. Woo indeed. Shop Amazon Spring Deal Days. Ends Monday. With deals that make you go, woo! Choice on point. Quality on point. Price on Motor Point. Over 1,000 new cars every week. Fiat 500s, Qashqais, Ford Pumas, BMW 1 Series and more. Fully inspected cars with warranty. Find thousands of cars at motorpoints.co.uk. There's no car like a Motorpoint car. Test drive one at Motorpoint stores nationwide.
Talksport have teamed up with Travis Perkins to build the ultimate breakfast show preview feature.
Okay, so that's a tube of top-name guests and a palette of expert pundits.
Delivering all the news, views, stats and facts you need to know to set you up for the day ahead.
Plus a couple of spanners. That's not technically true, mate.
Don't miss Superstar Breakfast previews every hour throughout the show on Talksport with Travis Perkins. Join the club and get low trade prices. Find out more at travisperkins.co.uk or download the app.
Hello, you. Feeling at the mercy of overpriced and glitchy broadband. At USwitch, our broadband experts battle behind the scenes to get you exclusive prices at the speed you need, so you're free to enjoy life without a glitch. USwitch. We put you first. Energy Broadband Mobile.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the English Football League. Live Super League.
Catalan's Dragons versus St Helens.
St Helens go 90 metres.
Tomorrow afternoon from 5 on Talksport 2.
Live Gallagher Premiership Rugby on Talksport 2. Sunday afternoon from 3.
He's got it up in the air. He's kicked it. What a strike.
Hear tough tackling Rugby Union commentary as Leicester Tigers take on Saracens.
Woodward is in and around the ball. Leicester are up and over the line. And Julian Montoya has the try.
Leicester Tigers take on Saracens.
It's all about the grounding, and the referee's seen enough.
Sunday afternoon from 3 on Talksport 2. On Track. Tuesday afternoon from 2 on Talksport 2. Keep ahead of all the action in the world of motorsports.
He's shown that you don't need to win from pole position.
Extended hard-revving roundups, in-depth racing analysis, and big-name interviews.
If I'd gone 1.5 tenths slower, I would have been P10 on the grid. So it's so tight.
Talksport 2 rounds up the biggest stories and the latest racing rumors.
Championship points are more vital than ever.
On Track. Tuesday afternoon from 2 on Talksport 2.
Feel the power and the glory.
It's goal time.
And he scored. It's a brilliant goal.
Fired up and raring to go.
EFL Live
on Talksport 2.
The flags are flying, and it's going to be Coventry City that get us underway. Gustavo Harmer or Burrows then over this for Sheffield United. Right-footed, sends it into the top corner. It just had to be, didn't it? Gustavo Harmer hammers one right into the top bins.
There's no keeper that's going to save that because of the pace and the precision on it. What a goal.
It's pure filth, isn't it? It's absolute filth, that free kick. Absolutely stunning from Gustavo Harmer. Inside the box, Sariki cuts it across, and Tyrese Campbell with a delightful, delicate finish into the bottom corner with his left foot, and he doubles Sheffield United's advantage. Sheffield United 2, Coventry City 0. Yeah, two quite superb goals in the first half here at Bramall Lane then. So good to have the Championship back in the EFL, of course, and our coverage continues tomorrow, but the live football will continue throughout this weekend as we bring you the FA Cup quarter-final weekend. 8 teams remain in the competition, and they're all dreaming of that Wembley semi-final.
It is arguably the most open FA Cup in years.
Doesn't matter who you are, if you reach an FA Cup quarter-final, you start thinking about Wembley.
Welbeck! And he hits the back of the net!
You start dreaming about lifting that cup, and why not?
Long term, of course, you have a vision that promises you to never give up.
Nottingham Forest are fighting for Europe and fighting for silverware. They haven't won the FA Cup since 1959. Why not this year?
So we're going to give it everything that we have.
The FA Cup holders are eliminated. This is Fulham's day.
There's only 2 that can go to the final, but Palace are one of them.
It's 3-1. Eddie and Nketiah claiming the goal. Asensio, 2-0.
He's away for a trophy. He's away for Europe.
Sinister for Bournemouth. Sends the keeper the wrong way. Bournemouth are through to the last 8.
It's a big chance we have here in front of us.
Kevin De Bruyne slides in and sends Manchester City into the FA Cup quarter-final.
Don't ever turn your back on the FA Cup, because every single time and every single season it will surprise you. Yeah, can't wait. Our quarter-final coverage gets underway on Talksport tomorrow. 12:15, we've got Fulham against Crystal Palace. Fulham last reached the quarter-finals back in 2023, but ended up bowing out at that stage of the competition. And ahead of tomorrow's game, Talksport's Ian Abrahams caught up with the Fulham boss Marco Silva to see whether that previous experience will hold them in good stead.
To be honest, went wrong was not just our fault. That is the first thing that I have to say. We learned from that moment, 100% sure. I'm the first one. I try to give and to pass that feedback for our players. But in one football match, many things can happen. Of course, you have 3 teams there on the pitch, and all of the 3 teams, they want to perform really well. In that game, doesn't make sense for us to push the game back. Of course, until the 75 minute. Our team was by far the best one on the pitch, and after the last 10 minutes, many things happened there that we are not able to handle in the way you should.
Tomorrow, a chance to re-emphasise to everybody, cool heads. Don't let anything get to you.
Yeah, but this is the same thing that we we do always, and we spoke with the players. Of course, we had that conversation when we played the last round again at Old Trafford. We played the last round at Old Trafford. Was a good example how our team, this group of players, they were able to be cool, to face a very good side in a great atmosphere that was Old Trafford in that afternoon. A big chance for Man United, for us to go to keep in the competition, to be able to play 90 minutes and after under 20 minutes, and to be able after to respond the way these football players they respond in the penalty shootout. I think we did show the composure, the personality, and the character to be right now to playing another decisive match for us.
Yeah, Marco Silva, huge day for him and for Fulham tomorrow. And actually, when you look at the sides that are remaining, it's a huge opportunity for so many of them to book their semi-final place, of course, and a trip to Wembley ahead of potentially getting there for a second time in the FA Cup final. So coming up then, Fulham against Crystal Palace. That is live tomorrow from 12:15 on Talksport, the first of those FA Cup quarter-finals. At the same time on Talksport 2 in the Championship, we'll bring you Watford against Plymouth. And then at 2:15, of course, on Talksport, it's Game Day Live with Adrian Durham. And tomorrow he's joined by Mickey Gray, Darren Ambrose and Adrian Clark as they go round the grounds with all the goals as they go in. EFL, of course, taking centre stage as the Premier League's not back till mid-week. Over on Talksport 2 tomorrow afternoon, Leeds against Swansea in the Championship. Huge game because it looks like Sheffield United are going top of the table tonight. And then at 5:15 on Talksport tomorrow, Brighton against Nottingham Forest. And then, of course, Sunday, two more FA Cup quarter-finals for you. Preston against Aston Villa, that's at 1:30, and at 4:30, exclusive to Talksport, is Bournemouth against Manchester City. We are the only station that will be bringing you all four FA Cup quarter-finals this weekend. So if I was you, you may well need that Talksport app. Get downloaded now, wherever you get your apps from, and make sure you get it. And obviously on there as well, you get loads of other stuff. Obviously there's Talksport, Talksport 2, a list of all the commentaries, plus of course you can get Virgin Radio and all our stations, Times Radio 2, and Talk as well. So get the app. It's an essential companion, particularly for this FA Cup quarter-final weekend. Right, both teams are back out. There are no changes at half-time, so we will be waiting to see Jack Rudoni. And we are about to get underway. And it's going to be Sheffield United that will get us going this time. And they are kicking from left to right in this second 45 minutes. And Lampard is pacing his technical area away to our left-hand side as that long ball is punted forward and headed clear this time by Bidwell on this near side for Coventry City, and Binks as well goes up and wins a second header, and it's a little game of head tennis that ends with the left boot of Bidwell trying to find Mason Clark on this near side, and he commits the foul, and it's a free kick for Sheffield United. Surprised we've not seen Rudoni yet?
I can only think that, you know, we've mentioned him coming back from injury, that he is probably on limited minutes, and something that maybe the physios and the doctors know it's sort of predetermined, but you would imagine that we're going to see him sooner rather than later. And maybe it's that old adage, isn't it, from a manager saying, look, the ones that are on the pitch now, you've got 10 minutes to show me what you can do to get yourselves back into the game, and if not, I'm going to make changes.
Sheffield United with Cooper in goal, Sariki, Ahmed, Hodzic, Robinson and Burrows across the back, Chowdhury and Peck in midfield, Brereton, Diaz, Brewster and Harmer supporting Tyrese Campbell. As for Coventry right now, it's Collins in goal, of course, who came on for Dovan in the first half. Van Ivik, Thomas, Binks and Bidwell across the back. Torp, Grimes and Allen in midfield. And Sakamoto, Wright and Mason Clark up top. One of the things I was going to ask you actually before half-time, just on the technical side of things and the tactics today. It looks as though Coventry should have an extra man in midfield most of the time, but they seem to be getting outnumbered time and time again by Sheffield United. We'll break off for a moment because Mason Clark's on the attack down this left-hand side, and the ball's clipped in that time by Bidwell, and it's gathered in the end. I think it's come off the thigh of Torp and is gathered quite comfortably by Cooper. The way Sheffield United have ended up lining up, they seem to just always have an extra body in that midfield. Yeah,
they're really clever with what they do, and it's because there's a lot of options that they have. If Chowdhury drops in, and then the full-backs, they can get higher, but they can also, as well as getting higher, come in a little bit more in the transition. So if the ball is turned over, for example, then there's an extra body in midfield. Or the fact that when Harmer's on the ball, we've mentioned the way that he can float. He actually floats in a more central area anyway, rather than being out on that left-hand side. So that's another body to attack. So, no, in terms of Sheffield United, as much as they are defensively very stable and set up, the rest of the team are actually quite fluid in the way that they play. We know that Harrison Burrows likes to get high. Robertson, Ahmed, Hodzic and Cooper are the ones that really, stay where they are. Everyone else is on a free roll.
Here's Mason Clark down the left-hand side for Coventry City, inside the penalty area, on his right foot, edge of the box, fires the shot. He's just pulled it a little bit. He got to the edge of the area, and he was probably about 5 or 6 yards to the left of the D when he's pulled the trigger, and it's well wide of the right-hand post of Michael Cooper, but a little more intent from Coventry City.
Yeah, at least they're trying to get forward, have a shot and try and test Cooper. Obviously that one didn't, but I think that's what they've got to do. Coventry be a little bit more expansive. I think they've been disappointed in the wide areas, especially. I know Mason Clark has tried to make things happen, but he's had a lack of support on that right hand side. Sakamoto, for example, I barely remember talking about him in the first half. He's hardly been on the ball.
They're going to try and get him on the ball here down that right hand side. Sakamoto towards the edge of the penalty. He's just tried to then turn it back into the path of Milan van Ivik, who was coming forward, but he hit the pass away from him, Sakamoto. Not his night so far. Here's Grimes as Coventry look to build again down that right hand side. It's back with Grimes once more on that right hand touchline. Van Ivik infield again. Grimes will just go back to Bobby Thomas. Binks is alongside him, but this time Victor Torp's got himself involved. And he's given it away. Tyrese Campbell was about to pounce, but Bobby Thomas has recovered and goes back towards his own penalty area. And Grimes is there once more to pick up possession for Coventry City. Again, pressure being applied here by Sidney Peck, illegally on Jamie Allen, and that's a free kick for Coventry City.
I think it's soft, really soft. I think Sidney Peck does well. He gets tight to his man. I just think Jamie Allen loses out.
The referee, no hesitation in going for his whistle. I mentioned earlier they've won more championship games than any other side, of course. Sheffield United, that 2 points that were deducted at the start of the season is the reason they're not top of the table anyway. This will be their 26th victory if it stays the way it is right now, with them leading by 2-0. Leeds have won 23 times this season, and the pressure will be on them to win against Swansea tomorrow afternoon on a game you can hear live on Talksport 2 from 3 o'clock. Left hand side, here's Mason Clark inside the penalty area on this left hand edge, trying to tease and run. Bidwell's there to support, poked out of play by Siriki, but off of Bidwell, and the referee was in a really good position to spot that, and he gives the goal kick away to our left hand side to Sheffield United.
Yeah, credit to the referee. He's in a really good position to see it. And although what I do like from Coventry in the second half is they're moving the ball, and actually their movements with a lot more energy. I imagine there's been a few choice words by Frank Lampard at half time, so that'll be some of the reason, but very disappointed actually with Coventry in the sort of the back end of the second half. Started the first 20 minutes well, but the lack of energy in that back end of the first half has really cost them.
Now, I did read this week that Christine Lampard, Frank's wife, was saying that when they lose he cancels their dates and their dinners. Not that she'd have had a dinner tonight, given it's late on a Friday night.
Maybe tomorrow she's cancelling the plans.
Well, she's probably thinking I may go away for the weekend if this stays the way it is, if he's going to be in a bad mood. Not going quite to plan as things stand. How did you used to be after a defeat?
Awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It wasn't worth talking to me, really.
Here's Binks down this left-hand side. Being a West Ham fan, I'm familiar with this feeling. most Saturdays is how it tends to feel. It's clipped back this time by Grimes to his goalkeeper, Collins. Collins right-footed, switches play to that right-hand side. They're just trying to open the game up a little bit more. And they're certainly trying to use the flanks at the start of this second half, Coventry City, to better effect. Here's Grimes again to the right-hand side. Torp is there, back with Grimes once more. Grimes, of course, who came at the back end of the transfer window from Swansea, former Exeter trainee. She scored a couple of goals this season for Swansea in the early part of the campaign. 32 appearances in total in all competitions for them. Infield comes Grimes again, 10 yards inside the Sheffield United half, just trying to find a way through, and we've not really seen Hadji Wright in the game tonight. Again there, he just peeled off his defender, but Ahmed Hodzic was able to nip in front and win the ball for Sheffield United. And now Brewster will go down the right hand side for Brereton Diaz. Sadiqi's outside him. Brereton Diaz trying to go it alone, is he here? Sets up Peck to the far side of the box where Burrows is waiting. In possession, Burrows. Harmer, 25 yards out, cries of shoot. Clips the ball to this near side towards Sadiqi, but it's just going to float away from him and behind for a goal kick to Coventry City away to our right hand side.
I think that ball just comes a little bit too late from Harmer. By the time he's made his decision, I think if he takes his first touch and then floats that in, Sadiqi's got a better opportunity to try and get on the ball. But I think he's debating, do I shoot, do I pass? By the time that's happened, Coventry back line have managed to step up, and it's always going to be really difficult from that moment.
Well, here's the goalkeeper playing out inside his 6-yard area. No sign of a Cruyff turn from Collins this time. Right-footed ball played forward by Bobby Thomas again, but the header's won comfortably in the middle of the park for Sheffield United. No, Torp has now got it back and clips an early ball forward towards Hadji Wright in the air, but Ahmed Hodzic is always winning that battle, and in the end there's the use of an arm from Hadji Wright that's penalised by referee Langford, and it's another free kick, this time for Sheffield United midway inside their own half. The two centre-halves for Sheffield United tonight have been excellent.
Yeah, they've been really good, and mentioned earlier Harry Souttar normally bring an air of calmness, and sometimes not necessarily Robson, but Ahmed Hodzic probably more than anyone, and we saw it in the reverse fixture. He's got that little bit of the streak about him where he's not always the most consistent. He can do something silly at times, but they've both been very calm and composed, both in and out of possession.
Well, only Leeds and Burnley have conceded fewer goals in the Championship this season. I think no team has drawn fewer games than the Blades, just 7 so far in this campaign. One of those being when these sides met, of course, at the CBS Arena in November. Here's Grimes for Coventry City, who are seeing a little more of the ball at the start of this second half in a desperate attempt to try and get themselves back into this game. Trailing by 2-0 here on Talksport 2 with Courtney Sweetman-Kirk alongside me, Adam Bridge, and we've had 9.5 minutes of this second half so far. It's Bidwell back into Binks, and now to Thomas, and now to Allen on halfway down this left hand side. Forward it goes again. Mason Clark, he's got Sadiqi immediately on top of him, goes back again to Binks, and Coventry will look to come from the back once more. The switch of play to the far side where Van Ivik is waiting. And now it's Grimes who will drive forward towards halfway, closed down immediately by Peck, but bypasses him down that right hand side, looking for Sakamoto in the end, but again can't find him. There's a clutch of Coventry substitutes who are all warming up down below. Here's Mason Clark towards the edge of the penalty area. Bidwell now, decent chance to cut the ball back across, which he does, but it's intercepted by Brereton Diaz, and on this near side Sadiqi then will sweep up and get it to Peck with a lovely pass, and maybe there's a chance here for Sheffield United now to counter. There's 4 in the attack, it's 4v4. Harmer, first touch is good. Campbell tries to play Harmer back in, who continued the run, but it was well intercepted by Van Ivik on that far side. And now Coventry will try and counter on the right hand side with Sakamoto. Sakamoto back towards halfway, and now Sheffield United have got themselves back into shape.
Yeah, the game's starting to open itself up a little bit, but you mentioned it, Adam, in terms of that midfield, and Sheffield United very much winning that battle. So Coventry are being a little bit more clever now. Instead of trying to play it through the midfield and getting caught out, they're trying to find those big raking balls like that one out to wide areas, and it's working.
It is. Mason Clark again down this left hand side, ball at feet, trying to take on Sadiqi. He's going to need some help though, which he gets this time from the advancing Bidwell. And then Allen at the edge of the penalty area, helps it out wide to this near side where Grimes is there. Bidwell wants it down the line. Grimes is forced to go back though to Allen. Now Grimes down this left hand side. He's going to put a ball into the box this time, and it's going to be headed away easily by Ahmed Hodzic, as it's been every single time the ball's come into that penalty area.
And he's been brilliant, and what always happens as well is when Ahmed Hodzic is the one that goes, Robinson's always very clever and aware. He drops in as well, and both the fullbacks will get a little bit narrow, so it's been very difficult to breach that back line so far for Coventry with that long direct ball.
It was Ahmed Hodzic, of course, that was sent off when these sides met earlier in the season, but he's made amends for that tonight He's been superb. Here's Sakamoto on the far side. First time we've seen him on a charge towards the byline. Hamza Chowdhury comes across and gets the block on the cross, and then it's cleared away by Harrison Burrows on that far side. Harmer again trying to play the ball forward, but his opposite number, Jamie Allen, gets the final touch and puts out a play for a throw to Sheffield United on that far side. 12 minutes gone in the second half. Sheffield United 2, Coventry City 0. You listen to Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. As Coventry desperately try and get themselves back into this game. Of course, if they fail to secure points tonight, it will allow those below them, i.e. the likes of West Bromwich Albion, Bristol City, to potentially overtake them this weekend. West Brom off to Norwich, and the game between Burnley, of course, and Bristol City with another 3 o'clock kick-off tomorrow afternoon. Now, Sadiq on this right-hand side gets the better of Mason Clark, still going on the charge. Sadiq inside the box, chance to shoot, which he does with his left foot. It's blocked, it almost comes back to Tyrese Campbell, and after a couple of ricochets ends up in the arms of Brad Collins away to our right-hand side.
Brilliant defending in the end, isn't it, by Bidwell, because I thought Sadiq, there's a couple of bits of skill in there to beat Mason Clark, and just a moment where he's about to unleash a shot where he's dropped in the edge of the 6-yard box, going to unleash the shot, but Bidwell does really well to make the block.
Down this left-hand side, there's a chance for Mason Clark. He's cutting infield onto his right foot, gives it short to Jamie Allen. Jamie is not played too much this season, only a 10th start of the campaign. However, it is his 147th league appearance tonight for Coventry City. Lampard has said in recent weeks Jamie's had to wait for his chance, but he's taken it. And in that midfield three, in the absence of Ben Sheaf, who of course has missed the last couple of games as well. Sheaf back amongst the substitutes today, the Coventry City club captain. Here's Grimes. They're certainly moving the ball much better in this second half. And now Mason Clark again down this left-hand side. It feels more like a rear guard action required here for Sheffield United to protect what they've got. Bidwell onto Mason Clark again, who this time right-footed lobs the ball into that 6-yard area, and it's that final attacking threat, isn't it, that's missing as it's cleared away easily by Ahmed Hodzic.
Is they're getting in better areas now more frequently, but the quality then of that final ball hasn't been good enough as yet for Coventry. But I think as well, Sheffield United, they're quite happy to sit in at times and try and soak up the pressure.
Here's Haji Wright, edge of the penalty area on his left foot. Haji Wright with a shot, and it's drilled low and straight. Michael Cooper, who comfortably makes the save, and I think that's probably the first we've seen of Haji Wright tonight.
It is, and he does well, cuts onto his left foot, strikes it well enough, but it's straight at the goalkeeper. As I was mentioning, obviously not too much like that. They don't want Haji Wright getting shots off, but they're quite happy, Sheffield United, to try and soak up a bit of pressure, because they know that will leave gaps. They can then work on the transition to try and exploit Coventry and get that third goal. And for me, if they do that, that puts the game to bed.
Well, we are going to see a change imminently for Coventry City, and I think it is going to be Jack Radoni, who's just been told to get himself prepared down below. And it's a throw that's taken short here for Sheffield United. And there's Chowdhury to the left-hand side, where he finds Robinson, the Sheffield United skipper. Back to Chowdhury again at the edge of the penalty area. And left-footed ball forward to Tyrese Campbell. Infield now to Brewster, and again they've got men down this right-hand side. Brereton Diaz on the charge, ball at feet. Brereton Diaz tees that one up for the finish for Rhian Brewster, and a third for Sheffield United, and they are going to the top of the Championship table tonight. They've pulled Coventry City apart at Bramall Lane, and it's Rhian Brewster again, his 4th Championship goal of the season, and the man who was the hero against Sheffield Wednesday before the international break has surely wrapped up the 3 points tonight that will send Sheffield United top of the Championship. Sheffield United 3, Coventry City 0.
Well, I mentioned it only moments ago, and that's exactly what Sheffield United were looking for. That moment, initially that ball that goes into Tyrese Campbell, what a fantastic touch. His first touch sets him on his way. You can play it back round, it gets back into Brereton Diaz, who drives a little bit into the box. I thought the moment might have disappeared, but then He just sets it off to his left-hand side to Ryan Brewster, who picks up a really good position, probably about 16 yards out, and strokes it home. And as I said in the first half, we're starting to see the best of Ryan Brewster in a Sheffield United shirt, and that is living proof of it.
Chris Wilder turns towards the stands, fists pumping, taking it all in. And Ryan Brewster, maybe, just maybe, that price tag that's been hanging so heavily round his neck and on his shoulders is just beginning to loosen it off a little bit. Goal against Sheffield Wednesday, of course, puts you in folklore around here. But tonight, that's an excellent finish to surely send Sheffield United to the head of the Championship. Victor Torp's gone off. Jack Rodoni has come on for Coventry City. It was a change that was planned before that third goal. And here's the free kick for Coventry City, which Matt Grimes is going to take on this near side. And there was a resigned look from Frank Lampard, and his posture says he's not happy, obviously, but also maybe this is kind of where Coventry City at times are at when they come up against the very best in the Championship.
Yeah, you see hands in pockets, walking down his area, Frank Lampard, head down, looking at the floor. And it's a shame because you want to get Rodoni on a little bit quicker. That was the idea, and he was waiting, and by the time he does get on, it gets even worse, 3-0 down. And I personally don't see a way back for Coventry now, but it just then makes that obviously Burnley game even bigger. And then it's the situations in this point in the season where everything's interlinked, because Sheffield United go and win tonight, that pulls them away further from Burnley. Then Coventry are thinking, well, they need a big win against Burnley. That would actually do Sheffield United a favour. So yeah, it's that time of the season where all the stories are being written.
Well, it's going to be a case of over to you, Leeds United, tomorrow lunchtime at this rate, or tomorrow afternoon, should I say. Brewster is fouled by Jamie Allen. He's going to get a yellow card, and he's going to be squared up to by a few Sheffield United players. Tyrese Campbell, the first of those. It wasn't a pleasant tackle. It was a horrible tackle, and Chris Wilder is telling them all to just leave it, because the last thing you want at this stage is to spoil what's been a terrific night. And I think Tyrese Campbell may well find himself in the book here.
Yeah, and it's just that moment where, because emotion's so high already, Sheffield United, they've only just scored, and yes, it's a different type of emotion, but your body doesn't know that. It just knows that your emotion's high. So then that happens. Yes, it's a poor challenge. We've spoken previously about his injury issues as well, Ryan Brewster, and I think off the pitch as well, Tyrese Campbell and Ryan Brewster are really good friends. So then as a teammate, you take exception to it, you get involved in, when you away from it, you see it and you think we don't need to get involved. But when you're on the pitch and that emotion is so high, it's just an instant reaction.
Well, I think it's actually Ben Brereton Diaz that ended up being booked, as Chowdhury finds Ahmed Hodzic on this near side, and the cheers were for Chowdhury getting the better, I think, of the substitute Jack Rodoni. Another free kick on halfway, this time for Coventry City. It's all getting a little bit testy and feisty. Here is Rodoni deep inside his own half, the substitute, trying to make things happen here for Coventry City on that far side. Callum O'Hare is ready to come on for Sheffield United, just to really rub salt in the wounds for Coventry City this evening. Of course, Callum was in Sky Blue up to the end of last season. 2 spells, and a loan spell from Villa before joining permanently, and scored 17 goals in his time, 162 league appearances for Coventry City. Did spend a lot of time injured, which was tough, but in between that he really was and still is a magical little player. But he'll be coming on for Sheffield United soon. Here are Coventry on the attack down the left hand side. Mason Clark on the charge again, just slows his run up. He's got 2 against him. He's got Brereton Diaz and Sadiki there as well. Goes out to Bidwell. Bidwell this time puts the ball in and once more doesn't beat the first man, who this time it happens to be Siddy Peck. It's hacked clear by Brereton Diaz, but only as far as Grimes, who helps on its way to Hadji Wright. Lovely control at the edge of the box. Back to Rodoni. Left hand side, here's Bidwell. Bidwell into the feet again of Rodoni, who's holding the ball at the edge of the box with Brereton Diaz chasing him around. Rodoni once more. So impressive this season, but Just can't find a way past Brereton Diaz and this stern Sheffield United defence, who are going to protect what they've got at all costs here as we reach the midway point of this second half. 3-0 up. A good night for Sheffield United after the international break. And they'll mill away from Bramall Lane tonight, top of the Championship. And I don't think many could argue, really. 26th win of the season this will be. And here come Coventry City again as the first cries of "we're going to win the league" start to roll around. I'm surprised we haven't got into Leeds are falling apart again territory. Maybe that will come later.
Maybe if they get a fourth, I'm sure that will be a chorus on the Kop.
Long ball punted forward this time by Collins. Haji Wright is cutting a frustrated figure as he goes up and wins that header. He tries to win a second header, but again Ahmed Hodzic is behind him, and Jack Robinson is there and just applauding every header that Ahmed Hodzic has made, because they know how good Haji Wright is. They know what a handful he can be. But tonight they've looked after him brilliantly.
It's been really difficult though, hasn't it? Because it's, as you say, Ahmed Hodzic, he's going to win the first ball, and then Robinson drops off. If he doesn't win it, then he's still got Robinson to beat Haji Wright. And to be honest, I don't think he's even beat Ahmed Hodzic once, so he's not got as far as Robinson. But it's been a really tough night for him.
Here's the changes for Sheffield United then. And we're going to see Tom Cannon come on. And Rhian Brewster is the other player, one of the players who's coming off. Callum O'Hare is going to come on to replace him. And well, they're standing all around us for Rhian Brewster. He has been excellent tonight. Just shows what a few goals does for your confidence.
Yeah, exactly. And look, he always works hard. There's no doubt about that, Rhian Brewster. But obviously, when you're adding goals to your game as well, something that the crowd loves, and obviously for his own confidence as a player, is massive.
And one of the other goal scorers, Tyrese Campbell, also departing to a standing ovation. And it's Tom Cannon who's going to come on to replace him. And there's a high five and a hug with Chris Wilder. And it will be a throw down this right-hand side for Sheffield United with Sariki in short to O'Hare. And Sariki's gone on the overlap inside the penalty area, tries to get the crossovers, deflected, and then hacked clear by Binks at the near post, up towards Haji Wright at the edge of the centre circle. But again, no surprise that a challenge has been won against Haji Wright. Quite excellently that time though by Harrison Burrows. They really are defending superbly, Sheffield United tonight. They lead by 3-0. You're listening to Sheffield United against Coventry City in the EFL Championship, live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order McDelivery on the app and get rewards points 18+. Participating restaurants. Delivery fees and terms apply. See mcdonalds.com. Long ball forward towards halfway. The header is met by Bobby Thomas this time. And now a left-footed ball slipped up that far touchline by Sidi Pep. And it's put out of play on halfway. And a throw on that far side for Sheffield United. And it will be taken by Harrison Burrows just short of halfway. 20 minutes remaining. 3-0 to Sheffield United. A night to remember when they go top of the Championship again. Home form, as we mentioned, has been a little bit tricky. Just one clean sheet in 5 previously. Another one tonight, though, will set them up as this running commences. When you look at the fixtures to come for Sheffield United, Oxford away up next weekend, then Millwall here, Plymouth away, Cardiff at home, and then probably the key one of them all, Burnley, you would feel, at Turf Moor. That's on the Easter weekend. You look at the run-ins. Leeds running looks probably the better of the 3, but that's not a bad one really for Sheffield United.
No, I don't think it's terrible. But then it comes that stage in the season, doesn't it, where you think, well, that looks like a good run, but when you've got teams fighting for their life, trying to stay in the league, odd results can happen.
You certainly can. I don't think anyone thought that Hull City would come here and get victory. Here is Grimes trying to thread a ball through the eye of a needle that time to try and pick out Radoni. Hamza Chowdhury was there and able to read it. I think he's been excellent tonight as well in that midfield for Sheffield United.
It's been excellent, but you know what it is? It's his game understanding.
There's a chance maybe for Cannon towards the edge of the penalty area. Cannon, has he got the pace to get away from Binks? He hasn't. There's a lovely ball through that found him at the edge of the penalty area, but the outstretched boot of Binks does the defending for Coventry City. He was always up against it because there were a couple around him.
He's not blessed with electric pace, and his first touch somewhat lets him down. You think he might recover the situation, but just can't generate enough pace to get himself away from the two defenders.
Would have stuck under his feet, and that's out of play for a Sheffield United corner on the far side. Burrows winning that with some good pressure down that left-hand side. Not calling it quits at 3-0 here, Sheffield United. Could be a long 18 minutes for Coventry City. More changes for them. We're going to see the return of Ben Sheaf. He's missed the last 2 games due to injury. He was a player actually that was linked to Sheffield United in the summer. Harmer, it's taken short, gets it back to Burrows. Harmer again, in towards the feet this time of the dancing Callum O'Hare, deflected over the bar and out for another corner. Well, that really would have been the icing on the cake for Sheffield United and added more despair and misery for Coventry City supporters tonight. They've already seen Gustavo Harmer absolutely spank a worldie of a free kick into the top corner, and to see Callum O'Hare score against them as well would probably just finish them off.
Yeah, it really would, but this is what we used to with Callum O'Hare, isn't it? He's got such a low centre of gravity, goes past a couple of players, gets the shot off. I think it's Bidwell in the end that gets the deflection. Could have gone anywhere, could have gone in the top corner. Luckily for Coventry, it was over the bar.
Chowdhury gets it short to Harmer. Harmer gets it back off O'Hare, hits the shot, deflects. Well, Brad Collins was stood still because the deflection it took was a wicked one, and he wasn't getting anywhere near it, but it did go over the bar and behind for another corner.
Yeah, he was rooted to the spot, wasn't he, the goalkeeper? And it was one of those where it's spinning. Looks like it might dip in the top left-hand corner for a moment, but again, it's another opportunity for Blaze to put the ball into the box.
Ellis Sims, Sheaf, and I think we're also going to see potentially Jamie Patterson coming on for Coventry City. That corner is swung in by Burrows. It's headed away by Bidwell, and it's picked up again on that far side by Burrows, and he'll go back to Harmer off the angle of the penalty area, left-hand side. Tries to play a little 1-2 with Burrows that time. Didn't come off for them, but they win it back with ease. Callum O'Hare wins it back with ease. There's Cannon. Harmer again inside the box. Lays that one back. Peck with a shot, and it's blocked behind again for what will be another corner for Sheffield United, who are running riot at Bramall Lane.
He's so frustrated with himself, Sidney Peck. He's absolutely screaming into the cop, and I just think he doesn't compose himself. I don't think he's really sure what he wants to do with this. He's almost just trying to pass it in the back of the net rather than really strike through it. Don't get me wrong, it was really good defending from Rodoni, but I think there wasn't enough belief in that shot for me from Sidney Peck.
That's taken short again. Harmer at the edge of the penalty area, works it onto his left foot, right foot, then tees it up for O'Hare. Back again to Harmer, and now the driven shot from Chowdhury is tipped over the bar from Collins. They're queuing up one by one here. That one fired in from the edge of the box, and Collins with a touch, and it's another corner for Sheffield United.
He's just in the area, isn't he, Hamza Chowdhury, making sure that this ball doesn't get out for the Coventry City attack, but goes one better, gets the shot off, and it does need saving.
Well, it's just dipping over the head of Brad Collins on that occasion, and it feels almost inevitable that the fourth goal is coming here. Harmer, short to Burrows, the offside flag is up. No, a foul. I thought it was offside, but there'll be a change now. This triple change coming for Coventry City then, and Jamie Allen is the first of the players to depart, to be replaced by the club captain Ben Sheaf. It's the first change for Coventry City. The second we'll see from Mason Clark, be replaced by Jamie Patterson, of course the player who they picked up on a free. And last but not by no means least, Ellis Sims is coming on, and he's going to replace Haji Wright. So 3 changes for Coventry City. Quiet night for Haji Wright, who will go and sit down the American international, and Sims will lead the line. Sims without a goal in his last 5 appearances. He had 4 and 6 prior to that. A former Everton man, of course, and a really good season on loan at Sunderland as well in the Championship. We've just started to work up a really nice partnership with Brandon Thomas Asante. Thomas Asante injured and missing tonight as well. That's good from Patterson. Here's Sims at the edge of the penalty area. Sheaf Van Eyck back to Sheaf again, who drives it. Chowdhury blocks it. Of course he does. Who else was going to be around the penalty spot blocking that? But Hamza Chowdhury, who has now gone down, having blocked that goal-bound effort by Ben Sheaf. And they claim a head injury. It caught him straight in the head, but they've allowed the physios to come on down below.
Yeah, he's getting boos from the Coventry fans, but obviously, being of a Leicester persuasion, he was always going to get that anyway, but it hits him in the face. So rightly so, it stopped. But he's been excellent tonight, and his game understanding is incredible, Hamza Chowdhury, and I think it helps that he's played across a range of positions. It's normally right back or in that central defensive midfield role, and it's hard because sometimes it does you a disservice, and you can probably argue that at Leicester that was the case because he never really nailed one position down. But at this level, you can see that his game awareness and game understanding of being in multiple positions has been so vital. Obviously not just tonight, but throughout his time at the Blade so far, and I think he's quite quickly becoming a fan favourite because of his work rate.
Now, obviously he's only on loan from Leicester. He's only made 5 appearances in the Premier League for them this season. I mean, is there a feeling that the Championship is Hamza's level potentially? Is that?
Maybe potentially, but I suppose there's an argument that the Championship is all of the Leicester's players' levels at the moment because they've had a really poor season in the Premier League. So it'd be interesting to see, like you say, what happens. It looks like Leicester are coming down into the Championship. So what does he want to do? Go back home? Does he want to stay here? Will he have the ability to stay at Sheffield United? Obviously, if they get promoted, he'll definitely want to. So it'd be quite interesting to see how that one plays out. Yeah,
he's been excellent tonight. No doubt about that. There's a 5-man kind of debating team discussing another change for Sheffield United down below. In fact, I think it's just become 6. So they're trying to work out what to do next. Chowdhury is obviously off the field for 30 seconds on this near side. In the meantime, Coventry trying to make things happen here with Rodoni. And that crosses into Sims with a header at the near post. And he guides it wide. Well, that's one of the first moments that actually I think a Coventry player's got to a cross first time in the penalty area. And he just got across the front there of his centre half. That time I think was Ahmed Hodzic. He got between the two of them but just couldn't steer it on target.
Yeah, he does. It's good movement, but it's a really awkward height, so he's stooping to head this one, but probably not at the height where he's being able to volley that. He's also right in that near post area, so to stoop to get that header back across the goalkeeper is difficult.
It's given away by Ahmed Hodzic to Jamie Patterson, who was one of those players who was always so persistent and nagging and so eager to please when he was at Swansea. Signed on a free, of course, having tried a bit of MLS by Coventry City, but then the ball's been given away and now the counter's on for Sheffield United again. Palmer's trying to stay onside on the far side. Cannon goes alone, takes a deflection, easily saved by Collins, but you feel with 4 red and white striped shirts alongside, that was the wrong decision.
He's getting an earful because all 3 of his teammates in O'Hare, Harmer and Ben Brereton Diaz in particular were all in better positions there, and he should have passed it. As simple as that.
Is that a guy who's desperate for a goal? Obviously had a terrific start to the campaign at Stoke, 9 goals for them in the Championship, but yet to hit the ground running here.
Yeah, it is. It's a striker that wants a goal, that wants to impress, but sometimes the way to impress is to play the unselfish pass, which he should have done there.
Isn't he also a striker who, I mean, there was a few after him as well, so again, not quite the kind of price tag that we saw for Rhian Brewster, but he was a wanted man and will be eager to impress, I'm sure. Van Eyck on that far side, Van Eyck still going here. He's got support there from Rodoni into the box. On his left foot tries the shot. He's blocked this by Peck, and it's out and behind for a corner on the far side. And Peck's hurt himself in the process of making that block, but he's down, and we're going to see a change here for Sheffield United. Andre Brooks is ready to come on. I think Peck's up and about. Obviously, he has been away with England on international duty, so it's not been an international break in particular for him. Chris Wilder just giving instructions to Tom Cannon right now as to where he needs to go and where he needs to be as Sheffield United look to defend this corner. It's going to be swung in from that far side. Left-footed, Rodoni is lurking. And there's a conversation again here. Hamza Chowdhury, I think, and Sariki getting involved with Binks. And also Sheaf on this near side. Referee's just squared them all up. Here comes the corner on the far side then. for Coventry City towards the near post. Sims tries to go up and win the header. I think he missed it completely. Gets the ball back out again. Rodoni, edge of the box, far side, tries to lift it in to get to it with the red and white shirts, and then the foul comes from Rodoni, and it will be a free kick for his challenge on Sidney Peck, and it'll be a chance for Sheffield United to make that change and get Andre Brooks on.
Yeah, and to be fair to Oliver Langford there, the referee, he was trying his best to try and play the advantage. They were flooding bodies forward, Sheffield United, but the foul was just too obvious on Sidney Peck.
Brooks coming on then, and he's going to come on, and off will come Ben Brereton Diaz, and Brooks returns. Brooks, of course, who got his first senior goal against West Bromwich Albion and then scored 2 in 3 games, but hasn't appeared since January. Injury, etc. have denied Andre Brooks opportunities, but he's on. Another of the homegrown academy.
It's been an odd one for Brereton Diaz today. I think he's worked really hard, there's no doubt about that, but there's been a couple of opportunities that he should have done better with, and moments like there with Tom Cannon where he's actually made good runs and nobody's found him, so he's almost been on the outskirts of the game today.
We did talk about the quality that can come off this bench. I mean, obviously Brooks has come on, Cannon's come on, O'Hare's come on for Sheffield United. We're still not seeing Kiefer Moore, who obviously played a part in Wales' late equaliser in World Cup qualifier in midweek. Coventry City have possession midway inside their own half. 6.5 minutes remaining. You're listening to Talksport 2, 3-0 to Sheffield United. This is your home of the EFL. More EFL action for you tomorrow. Lunchtime with Watford taking on Plymouth. And that's followed by Leeds United against Swansea at 3 o'clock. Both those games live on Talksport 2 tomorrow afternoon. And a reminder, we've got Premier League action for you midweek next week as well. So again, another reason to download that Talksport app, as we've got Premier League action for you as we start the midweek coverage. Round of Premier League games, of course, will be round the grounds on Tuesday night, and then we've got live games for you Wednesday and Thursday across the Talksport network. So make sure you've got that app downloaded for your chance to have access to all of our Premier League commentaries. Right, here's Cannon again for Sheffield United towards the edge of the penalty area. This time he gets the shot away. It cannons back off Bobby Thomas, hits Cannon again, and then is gathered at the second attempt by Brad Collins. I've got a feeling it's not going to be his night.
Yeah, I'm disappointed you didn't go for it cannons off cannon, to be honest.
Indeed, a double cannon. They used to score you lots of points in billiards, that. You've probably never played billiards, have you?
I'm more of a snooker girl.
Okay, fair enough. Here come Coventry as they just try to just get a consolation goal out of this game, because there is nothing else in it for them. They're 3-0 down. They've been by far and away second best tonight to Chris Wilder's Sheffield United under the lights at Bramall Lane. And it's Sakamoto who's still out there ploughing away on that far side in short to Sheaf. And again, the work rate of the front line of Sheffield United is still excellent, but bearing in mind 3 of them have been changed in this game so far, so probably no surprise that Callum O'Hare was leading the charge then against his former side. And the offside flag is up against Sims, and it will be a free kick for Sheffield United. The last 5 minutes of the game, and it remains 3-0 to the home side. Here's that free kick. As we mentioned, Oxford away up next for Sheffield United. And then Millwall here, that's always a tricky encounter. Millwall can be fairly stubborn, and they've been so under Alex Neil. Really taking their time over this free kick. I think Jack Rodoni's not 10 yards away, which is what Oliver Langford is demanding. And Cooper looking to try and secure that 20th clean sheet of the season for him. Prime example, really. The clean sheet's been kept by those top 3 sides throughout this campaign. Leading the way, of course, as we know, Burnley. As the ball spins out on the far side. It's another throw, this time to Sheffield United.
Yeah, and it's that defensive record from Burnley I keep thinking about, and I get, look, it's not the most attractive to watch, I completely understand that, but the level of detail and concentration that you have to only concede so few goals is obscene.
Here's Callum O'Hare on the charge inside the penalty area. O'Hare still going on his right foot, tees it up this time for Cannon, and the shot is blocked. Not for the first time. Harmer, edge of the box, still going for Sheffield United. Ricochets away towards Harmer again. Then Sidney Peck is just encouraging them to try and maybe go out wide, where Siddiqui is waiting on this occasion. Then we've got Gilchrist and McCallum ready to come on down below. In the meantime, there's O'Hare. Harmer offside as he gets to the byline and just tries to fire that across the 6-yard area. Couple more changes then for Sheffield United into the last 3 minutes. You're listening to Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. And the first player to depart will be Femi Siddiqui. And again, Siddiqui, of course, one of the academy. Actually made his league debut against Forest back in 2022. Only his 5th start of the season, but again, Siddiqui, another who's impressed tonight. Gilchrist comes on to replace him, and the other change we'll see Sam McCallum come on, and he's going to replace McCallum. Has wandered over, but I think it's Gustavo Harmer that's coming off. Oh no, it's Chowdhury. Chowdhury's the player that's coming off.
And it's that depth again, isn't it? But they've got a good balance, and you're speaking about academy prospects, and Sam McCallum being another one of those. You've got Raksaki, who's not featured today, that's a fantastic young player that's played a great part in this season. You've got in the stands Souza, Tom Davies, Harry Clark. So this is a squad with lots of depth, and still more to come with those players I mentioned to come back.
And he's a difficult man to keep happy, isn't he, Chris Wilder? That's for sure. He's always demanding more, and he sets very high standards, and they've paid off tonight for sure. We've witnessed them from Sheffield United. 90 seconds of normal time to go. 3-0 they lead against Coventry City. A chastening defeat for Frank Lampard, who's got his hands in his pockets of his trousers and is just pacing side to side in his technical area. Probably trying to work out where it went wrong tonight, given the run of form they've been in, as we mentioned earlier. 30 points from 36 available. It's been a terrific return. Seen them absolutely fly up the table. He's actually won 42 points in his 21 games prior to tonight. This will only be the 6th loss of his reign in the Championship. And I think we all thought there was a chance for him to redeem himself, and after his first spell at Derby, of course, went as far as the playoff final, and then his first spell at Chelsea was pretty good too, but second one not so good, and the time at Everton not so good either. So a real opportunity at a club that everyone feels could go places, and he's done such a good job.
Yeah, he has. And look, take tonight out the equation, because this is, for me, one of the teams that are going to get promoted in Sheffield United. They've, we say, the depth within their squad. They've got so much quality, so it's about recouping, and then can you have a right good go at Burnley?
Yep, next weekend for them. 5 added minutes here. Well, it's another free kick, this time for Sheffield United, midway inside their own half. So it's Burnley at home next up for Coventry. Then you look at some of the games coming up for them. Portsmouth at home, Hull away. Obviously Hull going to be scrapping away, although were they to secure a victory tomorrow, I think Hull would start to move away from the danger zone a little bit. Then they've got a huge game against West Bromwich Albion. Plymouth, Luton away, and then Middlesbrough at home on the final game of the season, which could be, depending on how Middlesbrough are going, who knows, a potential playoff place decider.
Yeah, I mean, at this moment in time, you've probably fancied Coventry more, purely because throughout the season, Borough have been so inconsistent, so up and down, so shown some wonderful moments, but also some poor ones. And I think, again, like working back to tonight, I think it's easy to look at Sheffield United and forget just how good they are, because probably the brand of football compared to Leeds isn't quite as attractive, but 2-point deduction and they're still up there.
Sakamoto with a cross that's cut behind for a corner. Another one for Coventry on that far side, and it's going to be Grimes who will go over to take it. A forlorn figure, most of the Coventry City players. Sakamoto still busily working hard on that far side, trying to make things happen for them. They've scored some late goals to get themselves back in games and secure points this season. This would be somewhat of a miracle. Just over 3.5 minutes remaining of added time. 3-0 to Sheffield United. And the corner is swung over. Cooper goes for it. It breaks and is poked home from close range by Rudoni. And they have their consolation goal, Coventry City. It's no clean sheet tonight for Sheffield United. It won't be the perfect night, but it will still be 3 points. But Rudoni returns with a goal. He's 6th of the Championship, and it's Sheffield United 3, Coventry City 1.
Yeah, well, it's positive for Rudoni, isn't it? He's in the right place at the right time, back on the pitch, back on the score sheet. But Sheffield United will be very disappointed with this now. Just watching Chris Wilder, and you mentioned about him being a hard man to please. He is not happy. He was kicking the floor. I can tell you Michael Cooper won't be happy as well. And for as good as they've been, Sheffield United tonight, that was really sloppy.
Yeah, I mean, there was a bit of whinging about whether or not Cooper had been fouled, but I think he just failed to hold the ball under a little bit of pressure. And Rudoni on the spot to score for Coventry City. Sheffield United then on the attack. Just over 2 minutes of added time remaining. Forward it goes on that far side, this time for Coventry with Sakamoto. Here's Grimes. Sheaf switches play nicely out to this left-hand side. Here comes Bidwell. Early ball into Sims at the edge of the penalty area. Helped on its way. Rudoni's trying to chase after it. Well, another one there would have been interesting, but it's well gathered this time by Michael Cooper, who falls on the ball. He won't be doing that next season. When we've got a count to 8, there'll be none of that anymore. And it's Cooper with a chance to set Sheffield United on their way.
Yeah, and he does well in that moment to command his area. And another reason why that goal will be so disappointing for him, because he's normally good at that, Cooper, to come command his area, even when there's bodies around him. And you're right, for me, it's not a foul. Keepers are too protected in that sense. He just needs to be stronger.
There's a foul there, and it's going to be a free kick. And again, there is words, this time Siddy Peck, and I think Patterson having words in the middle of the park. Referee intervenes. And a few of those niggly challenges, particularly in this second half, and a few moments of squaring up. I think Patterson caught Peck quite late. And it is a free kick for Sheffield United. Patterson's still going on about the fact that he feels hard done by, that he's been penalised. Long ball forward for Sheffield United into that far corner. Brooks is trying to get on the end of it. Out of play for what will be a throw-in on that far side. Into the last 30 seconds or so of time added on at the end of this game. Reminder, the Sports Bar weekend is about to get underway over on Talksport. Adam Catterall and Darren Ambrose taking your calls tonight. And if you want to reflect on the game and look ahead to the weekend's action as well, 03717 223344 is the number to dial. You can also send a voice note via WhatsApp to that very same number if you would like to get in touch, particularly if you're on your way maybe already from Bramall Lane as a Sheffield United supporter, or some of the many Coventry fans who look like they've started to filter out away to our left-hand side here at Bramall Lane. And there is the full-time whistle, and that sends Sheffield United to the top of the Championship tonight. And Leeds United, it's over to you. How will they respond when they take on Swansea tomorrow lunchtime? A terrific night tonight for Chris Wilder's side. The home form has been patchy in recent times, but following the international break, they were quite superb this evening. 3 excellent goals, the first of which from Gustavo Harmer against his former side with a stunning free kick. Wonderful finish from Tyrese Campbell to make it 2-0 at half-time. And then Rhian Brewster, back-to-back goals for the young man, 24 years of age, maybe just finding his feet now at Sheffield United after his big money move from Liverpool. A late consolation for Jack Rudoni for Coventry City, but it was all in vain, because it's Sheffield United who win the battle of the two in-form sides at the top of the Championship. And they go top of the table tonight, 3 clear of Leeds United, and maybe more importantly 5 clear of Burnley. Both those teams in action tomorrow. Leeds against Swansea live here on Talksport 2 from 3, and of course we'll keep you up to date with what goes on between Burnley and Bristol City during Matchday Live as we go around the grounds tomorrow afternoon on Talksport. Courtney Sweetman-Kerr, a thoroughly deserved victory. We often talk at this point in the season, is there any advantage to getting those points in the bag and now just saying, okay, Leeds United, over to you.
Without a doubt, and I've said this all season because of the slightly different format we've got with the EFL this season and the change in kick-off times and days. So I think that is a big psychological advantage for Sheffield United. You always say that you would much prefer the points in the bag. So there's quite a few moments to it for me. One, it's the win. That's important. The fact that they've won, they've scored 3 goals for Sheffield United. Again, important. It's against someone in the chasing pack in Coventry. So that feeling of beating someone that's close to you is always positive. And as you say, in terms of pulling away from Burnley and then going to Leeds United, right, well, we've done our job. Can you do yours?
And psychologically as well, after Leeds missed out last season, obviously faltered into... Again, to have that pressure heat... Look, Swansea aren't a great side right now. And if they weren't to win tomorrow... I mean, questions would be being asked. I think there's no doubt about that. Yeah,
they would be. And me and Hugh actually spoke about this last night on Kickoff. I personally don't think that there will be that type of drop-off with Leeds this season. I could be very wrong. I don't see it. I'm not saying they're not going to lose any more games, but I don't see that level of drop-off. But again, if you're in that Sheffield United camp, you are thinking that. You're going, right, we've won. Let's put the pressure on them. Let's make them crack. Let's see if they can stand up to the pressure. Let's see if they deserve to be promoted with us. So, yeah, it's all about those little 1%, those psychological advantage. And tonight, that's gone to Sheffield United.
And as for Coventry tonight, is it... I'm not going to call it a wake-up call because I think Frank's under no illusions as to what his Coventry City side are. But after a terrific run, they've come up against one of the best teams in the Championship tonight, haven't they? And maybe it just kind of resets their expectations as to what's to come between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, because for me, they've been at completely opposite ends of the spectrum. You'd say under Robbins, they overachieved, and then the job that Frank Lampard has done so quickly, then they're overachieving at this point. So at some point, you're going to regress to the medium. You've got to find the middle ground. But I think I said it. I think Sheffield United, not that they don't get enough credit, I'm not saying that, but they're a different style and a different brand of football to Leeds. They don't stand out in the same way. But when you think they've got that 2-point deduction and they've gone toe-to-toe with Leeds, so realistically they've won more than Leeds and they've won more points than Leeds, they are a very, very good team, Sheffield United, with a lot of depth, and I think we've seen the best of them tonight. We've not always all season, but that is one of the best performances I've seen from them.
Thank you, Courtney. As ever, pleasure to have your company tonight. So a 26th Championship victory of the campaign for Sheffield United. They've already won more games than anybody else, and now tonight they find themselves top of the tree. Leeds United, it's over to you with a game that you can hear tomorrow afternoon right here on Talksport 2 from 3 o'clock. Thank you very much for your company tonight. It's finished here. Sheffield United 3, Coventry City 1 at Bramall Lane. Coming up next here on Talksport 2, though, we have live PGA Tour golf.